All right, guys, welcome back to another stream. Welcome. If you are new, thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Actually, have to make a couple of quick adjustments. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. Have yet another camera angle that I'm using right now. It should be hopefully significantly better than yesterday's camera angle. I'm adjusting stuff. I'm getting stuff sorted. So, apologies as things shift around. Hoping by the next stream I do, hopefully, either the next one or the one after that, I'll have hopefully an even better camera angle. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for being here again. We have some pretty interesting stuff to go over and talk about today. Not necessarily about the showcase, although maybe there are a couple of things regarding the showcase, but actually, we're going over something that we don't we don't get to talk about all too often, and that is a new Jim Ryan interview. Jim Ryan has spoken, and he's giving out some pretty good information. I think we're kind of getting that somewhat annual update as it's like what's going on with PlayStation, what can we expect, and I think it's pretty important stuff. Not only that, but we have par for the course, we have the entire PlayStation showcase apparently leaked out. Yeah, that's right, guys. Every single announcement that Sony's planning has leaked out, courtesy of Reddit or 4chan or one of them. And it's pretty much an obligation. It's a it's an expected thing at this point that we're gonna take a look at this leaked list and figure out whether or not it's actually real. um Before anybody gets up, hopefully you were able to detect the sarcasm in my voice, but um for I see some people getting nervous, like, please no, don't spoil anything, don't reveal anything. Don't worry about it, man. This You don't have to worry about this leaked list. But I think it's actually just interesting to go over, and sometimes I like to go over these fake leaks just to see, like, just to see, like, what how good of a job did they do. um so yeah, but we got some stuff to talk about today. So before we dive into any of these topics, as always, I just want to give a reminder to everybody: if you appreciate the content, if you appreciate the streams, and you appreciate everything I do here, some ways you can help support me. Consider becoming a channel member. We're very, very close to hitting a new milestone with channel members. It's an absolutely insane milestone. Um, so if you want to become a member, please consider doing so. If you are already a member, please consider gifting channel memberships. I've been seeing more and more people letting me know that they basically are now entering their second month of membership thanks to just the amount of membership gifts that have been put out there. And also consider donating a super chat. You guys have been absolutely killing it week over week with the support, and I very much appreciate it. And if you aren't able to do any of those things, just being here, watching, and hitting that like button also helps tremendously as well. So, with that being said, anime for entertainment. Let me actually pause this here. I'm getting a couple of cuts in my stream here. Anime for entertainment. You're saying I'm calling it right now. Blue Point is working on the next Uncharted. Hmm. Hmm. I think you might be right. Mike S., you're saying, MBG, I came from another stream today that allowed me to gift members on iPhone, but your stream doesn't. Any ideas as to why? The reason for that might be because it's still being rolled out and my channel simply hasn't received that update yet. When YouTube implements these type of updates, they usually roll them out in like waves, and every day that goes by, more and more channels basically get updated to allow it. So there's a pretty good chance that the channel you were on that did allow it through iPhone received the update. Mine hopefully should receive it in the coming days, hopefully not weeks. So yeah, you guys will have to let me know when that eventually happens. You're saying you can't even donate to MBG. Interesting. Interesting. Not sure why. Um, but anime for entertainment, I gotta be honest with you, man. I'm expecting it. I'm expecting that. I think there's a pretty good chance that Bluepoint is in fact working on the next Uncharted, and that's gonna be really really interesting. I mean, just to see the reaction if Uncharted comes back, but to then also see the reaction to Bluepoint Games potentially handling Uncharted. I gotta be totally honest. I don't know that I would be too excited for that. I mean, it would be interesting, and I'll be excited for Bluepoint no matter what they do, even if it is Uncharted. But I gotta be honest and say that like I want to see Bluepoint do something. Um, I don't know, something a bit more unexpected, like even more unexpected than Uncharted. But we'll see, man. We'll see. All right, so I'm just kind of giving it a couple minutes here before I dive into this article. Just to let more people kind of flow in here while I wait a minute. Let me go check over here. All right, so yeah, something that we can say really quickly here before getting into this is we've been talking a lot about our expectations for the PlayStation Showcase. We've all been talking about, what games we hope to see, what games are likely to show up. It's worth noting that according to Jeff Grubb, Ghost of Tsushima 2, or the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, will apparently not be at the showcase, which, I want to say I am just disappointed in the fact that I really wanted to see more Ghost of Tsushima, but I'm not surprised at all. At this point, I do trust Jeff Grubb with what he says, and he's saying that Ghost of Tsushima 2 isn't expected to be there. So I definitely take his word on that. It would have been awesome. It probably would have been too much, but it does make sense that considering how huge Ghost of Tsushima 2 is going to be, it does make complete sense that they're like, well, we're going to need a little bit more time before we're ready to reveal it. It also might just be that Sony simply doesn't need to reveal it yet. They want to hold on to it. But he said probably won't. Probably won't. Well, I mean, it says here from today's episode of Game Mess Decides podcast, Jeff Grubb says he's heard that Ghost of Tsushima 2 and Dragon Age Dreadwolf will not be part of the PlayStation Showcase. So apparently he's saying like that's what he's heard. So we'll see about that. I see here we got Alex Brown saying, how do you become a member? Well, Alex, there are quite a few ways you can become a member. The simplest way is there should be a join button right underneath the video that or the stream that you're watching right now. You click that join button. If it's not there, like if you're watching on iPhone or anything like that, go to a desktop or an Android device, and you can hit that join button to become a channel member. And we got Whiskey Gaming getting things started today with a 5 membership gift bomb. Thank you so much, Whiskey Gaming. I very much appreciate that, man. Bringing us up to 5 on the day. I actually have to say, too, I did not mean to have my goal set to 50 members. That's quite a bit. I usually have it set to 25. I've been dropping the ball on updating these member goals each day. But thank you so much for that, Whiskey Gaming. Give you a little there. And I'll do one of these too. I want to do a Metal Gear. Just because I like it. So 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Whiskey Gaming. I've been noticing, and I do want to mention this as well, that these memberships are immediately dispersing, which is awesome to see. So shout out to you, Whiskey Gaming, and shout out to everybody else who continues to gift memberships. But yeah, Alex Brown, hopefully that helps, man. Hopefully what I told you helps. It's also worth noting that I have a link at the in the description box of this stream, as well as every other video or all the videos I do. There's a link down there. You can click that. All right. So what we're going to dive into now, let's talk about Jim Ryan. Okay. What is Jim Ryan saying? Jim Ryan doesn't give interviews too often. And I honestly, I got to be honest, I really wish Jim Ryan would do more interviews. You know, I feel like Jim Ryan, we hardly ever hear from him, but he definitely talked about some important stuff over the course of this interview. He did it with Famitsu, actually. So we're going to dive into that. I also just want to mention here real quick, like, not to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be that guy. So, like, you know, we've been talking a lot about PlayStation. We've been talking all about how, like, you know, the showcase is happening and the hype's coming up. Dude, like, I was just scrolling, you know, through Twitter today, and I saw that apparently China approved Activision Blizzard, and we got Alex Brown. Alex Brown coming in with $100 super chat, a $100 super chat, dropping a bomb, dude. Let's get some W's in the chat for Alex Brown. Dude, thank you so much. You're saying, I'm now a member. Thanks for the great content. Been watching you for years, so keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Alex. I very much appreciate that, man. It's a very generous super chat. And it's good to see that you're a member now, too. I don't know if you were just gifted that membership or if you were able to successfully become a member. But either way, man, I really appreciate that. That's an incredible donation there. So I'll do my best to keep up the good work, man. I'll do my best to keep up the streams, keep up the content. I've been really enjoying it. Been really having fun. I think a lot of you guys have as well. And I think that, you know, obviously with the showcase coming up, I think the showcase is going to kick off a new wave, a new phase of PlayStation games, obviously, but also with that PlayStation content creation here on the channel. So again, huge shout out to you, Alex. I got to give you a little holy shit. I got to give you a holy shit for that one. Definitely. So thank you so much, man. Really appreciate the support, guys. Really appreciate the support. Unbelievable. And Pyrotrek F, you're saying Destruction All Stars 2, Deathloop DLC, Bug Snacks 2, Fire, let's go. Hell yeah, dude. Now that's what I'm talking about. That would be one memorable PlayStation showcase. Destruction All Stars 2. I don't know what's crazier, Destruction All Stars 2 or Deathloop DLC. I think Destruction All Stars 2 would absolutely have to be the most wild thing that shows up. Absolutely. You're saying, so Jim Ryan was saying, yeah, I'm really quick before I get to what Jim Ryan said. I just want to point out, like, and again, I know that this comes off like a bit, I know it's a bit out of left field here, but it's just because I saw it a lot this morning. So, like, you're saying my soundboard is too loud compared to your mic. Guys, is that true? Do I need to adjust the soundboard? I can't hear it on my end. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't seen any complaints. So somebody says yes, somebody says no. It's a bit too loud. It's a little loud. All right, yeah, I can touch it up. Like, it's really not a big deal to touch up the soundboard. It's very, very simple to do. Actually, specifically the soundboard, right? Not like the yeah. I'll fix that. I'll be sure to fix that by the next stream. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. And I'll just lower it slightly, just a tiny bit, not a lot, because a lot of people say that they like the sound. It's fine. So I'll probably lower it by like just one notch, you know? And if it sounds worse after that, then I'll just go back to what it was. Saying JT or say nice, you're saying nice one, Alex, but here, get the wife something nice. Saying JT with the $2 super chat. I mean, I still appreciate it, man. I still appreciate it. I appreciate all the support, guys. Whether it's a $2 super chat, I mean $100, obviously $100 super chat's crazy. The membership gifts, it all goes a long way. So thank you. But I just want to say, yeah, I've been seeing all over the internet, guys. It's so bizarre. I know I've been really kind of hard on the Xbox fan base, but it is truly just strange to me. I've been kind of seeing this weird dichotomy where I see all these PlayStation fans hyping up the PlayStation Showcase, talking about games they hope to see, talking about just, just what you would expect, gamers to be talking about when they know a showcase is coming. And literally all I'm seeing from the Xbox side of things, from like a lot of these Xbox fans on Twitter and stuff, they're just, dude, they're utterly fixated and obsessed on the Activision Blizzard thing, man. Like they're talking more about the CMA. Like these guys are talking more about a fucking regulatory body than they are about their own preferred platform showcase that's coming up. And it is so freaking bizarre, man. Like it really kind of makes me take a step back and be like, God damn, dude, like I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on here anymore. And we got Hellbound 1981 with a 5 bomb as well.
You're breathtaking.
Hellbound 1981 bringing us up to 10 members on the day. Let's get some W's in the chat for Hellbound. Thank you so much, man. Whiskey Gaming, Hellbound, many others continuously gifting, continuously growing our members here on the channel. Thank you, Hellbound. Guys, you have to tell me what you prefer when we get like 5 bombs, 10 bombs. Obviously, I'll do the Keanu and the holy shit, but would you prefer the snake kept you waiting, or do you prefer the Arnold? What is it that you guys prefer? And we got Exley 3000 dropping a 10 bomb. A 10 bomb from Exley 3000 again.
You're all breathtaking.
Anybody in the chat right now, if you do not yet have a membership, click the icons up top. Opt in to become a member. Click the icons up top and claim some memberships. Exley 3000 bringing us up immediately to 20 members. I think it's a good thing that my membership goal is actually set to 50 and not 25, because we're clearly getting very close to crushing that 25 membership goal. W's in the chat for Exley. Arnold is the best. We'll do an Arnold. We'll do 2 Arnolds. We'll do 2 Arnolds. Dude, I have like 1 or 2 other sound bites for Arnold that I will end up getting here as well to keep it fresh. So thank you so much for that, Exley 3000. I see you put your name back to Exley 3000. And Hellbound 1981, pretty much 15 memberships off the bat. Can't thank you guys enough. Love to see it, man. We'll just throw in we got a membership train going because of that. But yeah, not to just like, we are going to dive into, for those wondering why I'm stalling diving into the Jim Ryan interview, because I'm honestly trying to get the most amount of people in here to hear what what we're going to go over, like the meat and potatoes for the topic. So I do appreciate everybody who's been waiting. We're going to dive into it in just a minute here. But I did just want to say that it is so strange, man, to be seeing just how obsessed a lot of these Xbox fans are with this Activision Blizzard deal, where it's like, this deal is going to go on for forever. It's just going to go on forever. And I'm so grateful that Sony finally announced the showcase, because if you guys were here Not for the stream that I did the day the showcase was announced, but the stream I did the day before the showcase was announced. That was actually like the biggest topic that we talked about because it was the only news that there was out there. We talked about how the European regulator approved this deal. And one of the things I kept stressing in that stream was how I really, really want Sony to do a showcase. And I really hope the rumors are true because I'm so fucking sick and tired of talking about this. And I know I'm talking about it now, but it's just like, I just don't, I guess I just find myself confused where it's like Xbox fans have already had a showcase announced like a week or two ago. And yet this is all they talk about, man. It's all they talk about. And it's like, I'm not saying I expect them to be sitting here talking about a PlayStation showcase, but it's like, I've literally seen more predictions and speculation and cheering for regulatory bodies than I have for literally Xbox's studios that they currently own. It's genuinely strange, man. And so I'm so glad that, finally after all this time the conversation's going to shift, and it begins with an interview with PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan, courtesy of Famitsu. Okay, so I have to lower the brightness here a little bit. It's a bit intense. Why is the brightness at max? All right, you know what? Never mind. Clearly because of HDR. Okay, so a VIP interview. Oh, this is very important for you guys to know as we read through this interview. This is a translation. Okay, this is a translation. This entire article and write up and interview was done in Japanese. So obviously, as we're reading through this, if things are worded very strangely and in a way that almost doesn't make sense, just be prepared for that because these translations are pretty rough. But you should, generally speaking, get the idea of what Jim Ryan was communicating, okay? We got PS Gamer. Thank you for the $20 donation, man. You're saying, hey, MBG, I love your content. Suggestion for growing the channel subs. If you make more videos about 20 minutes for most anticipated games, 10 showcase predictions, and other stuff like this, I believe it will help the channel's subs. I think you're absolutely correct, PS Gamer. And I was actually putting quite a bit of thought into this. Obviously, we're very close to the PlayStation Showcase. This is an ideal time for me to try to, gain more subscribers. I will have you know, and this is good news. I've noticed that YouTube's algorithm is beginning to push out my streams a little bit more, at least while they're live. And I've been gaining more and more subscribers. Not like a dramatic, difference, but I've been gaining more subscribers. We've been gaining more subscribers here on the channel just from doing these streams. But you're absolutely correct, man. Like, this is the ideal time. And your suggestion, doing about 20-minute videos, YouTube loves the 20-minute videos. That's like the sweet spot for YouTube when it comes to video content. Saying 10 showcase predictions, I think I might do just that, man. I think that actually be a pretty good idea. So I really appreciate the love, PS Gamer, and the suggestions as well. I could tell you guys are just as passionate about this channel as I am, and that is a truly incredible thing to see, man. So thank you for the $20 super chat, and yeah, look forward to the video content that I have coming up in the days leading up to the PlayStation Showcase. So, all right, let's dive into this interview here, guys. Hit that like button for me. Famitsu is reporting. I think it's Famitsu. VIP interview. Sony Interactive Entertainment's Jim Ryan talks about his thoughts on Japan and the strategy for the further leap of PS5. As the spread of PlayStation 5 accelerates, I love the way that's translated, like it's some kind of virus spreading. What is your next strategy? We asked President and CEO Jim Ryan about the future prospects of Sony Interactive Entertainment. And so this interview was actually conducted by the editor-in-chief of Famitsu.com. And let's see. The PS5 supply chain will significantly improve in 2022. Says, first, we would like to ask you about the PS5 hardware business in 2022. How are your achievements evaluated? Jim Ryan responds, I think many hardware related companies have suffered, but we are also facing a supply chain problem during the whole pandemic crisis. I suffered from, dude, this is going to be brutal, bro. Like, it's going to be so brutal reading through this translation. Apparently, Jim Ryan said, I suffered from a problem. It's no exaggeration to say that 2022 was the year we were dealing with this supply chain issue. Jim Ryan letting everybody know he suffered from a problem. And it's been a year of hard work on supplying PS5 hardware, especially to Japan and other countries. We are now in the era of PS5, but even compared to the era of PlayStation hardware so far, PS5 start was the best ever. In order to meet the expectations of many game fans, it was more important than ever to address this supply chain issue. So then Famitsu asks, currently the PS5 is in a stable supply. I guess they're saying, is the PS5 in a stable supply and can be purchased normally in Japan? Jim Ryan responds, in the second half of 2022, we finally were able to mass produce the PS5, and so far we've been able to supply quite a few in Japan. As a result, in the fourth quarter of 2022, we were able to sell the largest number of consoles in history for Sony Interactive Entertainment. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the game fans for their patience in waiting for the supply of the PS5 at the time when it was very difficult to supply it in Japan. We are very happy to have been able to supply PS5s to everyone who has been waiting so eagerly. Next up, Famitsu says the supply of the PS5 is progressing in Japan and the number of users is increasing rapidly. Jim Ryan says the Japanese market has been and will continue to be one of the most important markets. The reason for this, of course, is that the Japanese market is the second largest in the world, but more importantly than simple statistics, is that Japan is the birthplace of PlayStation. In addition, there are many employees in Japan, and the fact that SIE is made possible by their activities is also a major point that emphasizes the Japanese market. Also, Japan is an integral part of PlayStation's culture and is one of the central countries. So I think it is very special and important to be able to communicate in Japan within the PlayStation brand. And Famitsu responds by saying, I see, apparently. Jim Ryan continues, another reason why the Japanese market is so important, that's because many of the famous titles were born in Japan. There are many titles that have been sharing on our platform for nearly 30 years. Final Fantasy, Monster Hunter, Tekken, to name a few, but there are countless masterpieces developed by Japanese developers and released by publishers. Sony Interactive Entertainment has a long history of relationships with developers and publishers, so the Japanese market is extremely important in that sense as well. Famitsu says, what do you think is necessary to get more users to pick up the PS5 in the future? Jim Ryan says, I think people will choose PS5 because it has excellent titles and attractive games. This applies to not only Japan, but also other regions. Famitsu says, among those strategies, is there anything in particular that you would like to focus on for Japan? Jim Ryan says it is to send games out that are highly compatible with the Japanese market. Elden Ring, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Monster Hunter Rise, and Wild Hearts have already been released on PS5. These games were born in Japan and were released in Japan. It is very encouraging to see hit titles being created in Japan, and I am very grateful that there are many more titles scheduled to be released in addition to these titles. Most recently, Final Fantasy 16 and Street Fighter 6 will be released, both of which will be huge and important launches for the world, but Japanese game fans will have a particularly high affinity for them. I think it will be a special launch. In addition, there are many titles that were born overseas, such as Hogwarts Legacy, that Japanese game fans can really enjoy. Have you? And then they ask, have you played? They asked Jim Ryan, have you played Hogwarts Legacy? Jim Ryan says, yes, of course. To be honest, I didn't expect it to be such a hit in Japan. Wait, actually, hold on. I'm sorry. I read that wrong. Damn it. Hold on. Now I'm fixated. Did Jim Ryan play Hogwarts Legacy? Apparently, Jim Ryan asked the interviewer, have you played Hogwarts Legacy? And they said, yes, of course. To be honest, I didn't expect it to be such a hit. Jim Ryan says, dude, these translations are wild. All right, I'm just going to read it as it is. The interviewer says, yes, of course. To be honest, I didn't expect it to be such a hit. Jim Ryan responds, I love my daughter too. I'm so absorbed in playing Hogwarts Legacy that I keep telling myself, study too. what the fuck? Like, what is that saying? Guys, we need to figure this one out real quick before we go any further because I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. So it sounds to me like Jim Ryan maybe is saying that his daughter has been playing Hogwarts Legacy and he's telling her, "Yes, I'm glad you love Hogwarts Legacy, but you need to make sure you study too." Right? And that's what he's saying. It's just so random the way it's translated. Jim Ryan responds, "I love my daughter too." But that's what's so confused. It says, "I love my daughter too. I'm so absorbed in playing Hogwarts Legacy that I keep telling myself, study too." So, like, I'm confused. Is he saying his daughter plays it, or is it just randomly inserted that they say it's something wrongly translated to daughter? But what's Jim Ryan studying? Does he just mean work? I don't know what's going on, bro. This is like the most important part of the interview. We gotta know, is Jim Ryan playing Hogwarts Legacy? Oh, I love this. All right, so it continues on here. New section of the interview. Cooperative relationships with partners are essential to the success of the game. PlayStation Studios plans to release Marvel Spider-Man 2 in 2023. Please tell us your thoughts on this game. Jim Ryan says, "I'm sure Marvel Spider-Man 2 will be a very exciting launch because Marvel Spider-Man released on PS4 as a touchstone. The title was a huge success on PS4 and was enjoyed by millions of users. The sequel, Marvel Spider-Man 2, is being developed exclusively for the PS5, so the developers have made no compromises. We ask them to focus on maximizing the functions of the PS5 and creating the best possible work. As a result, we've received feedback from game fans that it looks like they'll be able to enjoy a very beautiful visuals and a wonderful experience." So, not a whole lot there from Jim Ryan on Spider-Man 2, but he does, and I do think this is important because there were people, kind of wondering, like, is Sony at the last minute going to announce Spider-Man 2 is going to release on PS4? I mean, he says here that it's being developed exclusively for PS5, and they've pretty much been asking Insomniac to really just try to take advantage of everything the PS5 offers and create the best possible game. So yeah, and I don't think anybody has any doubts that with Spider-Man 2, it's gonna be a looker. Um, so Famitsu says, "I'm looking forward to it being released. By the way, what kind of titles can we expect to be released or announced for the PlayStation platform in the future in the Japanese market?" Jim Ryan says PlayStation Studios, as well as third-party publishers, have some great titles lined up. Final Fantasy 16, as I mentioned earlier, is scheduled to be released exclusively for the PS5. And of course, this title will be a highlight. And we are also excited about the second party development and publication of Stellar Blade. So, Jim Ryan name dropping Stellar Blade. Then on April 19th, we released the paid downloadable content for Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores. And it's a series loved by many fans. In addition to these, Koei Tecmo's Rise of the Ronin. Oh, so we have Jim Ryan name dropping Rise of the Ronin, and Kojima Productions' Death Stranding 2. These will also be the main titles for PS5. Working with partners is essential to making the games a big success. Let's take Rise of the Ronin as an example. Koei Tecmo Games is developing it as the developer, and we, Sony Interactive Entertainment, will use our strong marketing power and distribution network to publish it. This combination technique is the secret to making these games a hit. So that's actually pretty interesting. That's a pretty significant flex from Jim Ryan. He's basically pointing out that these games that are being developed, and they have exclusivity partnerships with Sony. These are. I mean, he's assuming this translation is correct. He's saying that this is straight up what's making these games a hit, and this is the secret to making them a success. And I find that interesting because that really is seemingly Jim Ryan pointing out the fact that second and third party exclusivity deals, they do go beyond just, oh, it's a good game and we're just going to buy it and that's it. It's, we've been talking about Rise of the Ronin for a little while, and something that was very interesting to me about Rise of the Ronin is that they say it's been in development for like 7 years, and that Sony has basically been directly involved with the development of the title. And we know that, I mean, we already know how much Sony helped out Kojima and Kojima Productions with Death Stranding 1. I mean, they straight up let him use the Decima engine. So it's a pretty strong flex there, I'd say. Famitsu continues by saying, although PlayStation Studios AAA titles have sold over 10 to 20 million units worldwide, sales in Japan often remain relatively small. Please tell us your frank thoughts on the software situation in Japan. Jim Ryan says, every market, not just Japan, has its own characteristics. That's why there's a difference between the market where the same title can sell and the market where it doesn't. Rather, it wouldn't be interesting if the same title was a hit in every region. We believe that business is never boring and is always exciting because each region where we sell games has its own characteristics. I don't know why it says it this way. They say has its own characteristics and characteristics. So I don't know exactly what that was meant to say there. So basically, Jim Ryan saying we're not worried about low game sales in Japan. Obviously, that's a very PR statement. He doesn't want low sales in Japan. He wants higher sales in Japan, but I guess that's the best way to put it, where it's like, oh well, it keeps things fresh and exciting. Famitsu says, in the past there were titles that were released only in Europe and the United States, but not Japan. I think part of the reason for that is that you can expect big sales. So these are some pretty hardball questions that Famitsu's bringing up here. Jim Ryan says that's because the Japanese market is important. There are many experienced game fans in Japan, and there are many game creators. It may not be as big a hit as it is in other regions, but reaching the Japanese community is very important, and it's still more important than simple statistics. So yeah, says here, Famitsu asks, how do you think the Japanese market is changing? Jim Ryan says, I think Japanese game fans have changed a lot compared to the past. In the past, titles from Japanese manufacturers were popular, but recently they're enjoying titles from overseas manufacturers with an open mind. For example, Ghost of Tsushima has sold over 1 million copies in Japan. I think it proves how popular the titles of foreign manufacturers are in Japan. And so, Famitsu asks, like, are you just revealing this now that Ghost of Tsushima sold 1 million in Japan? And Jim Ryan says, yes, you guys are the first ones to get this information. So let me see here. These questions don't seem very important. This is a much longer interview than I thought it would be. Did you realize over the past few years that while promoting globalization, it is also necessary to cherish developments that match the characteristics of each region, or was it recognized earlier? Jim Ryan says, I can't give you a definite yes or no answer to this question, but I think you've gradually become aware of it as the environment surrounding the game changes. It was around the release of the PS4 in 2013 that I became particularly aware of it, with a clear awareness of the need to promote globalization in the future. We have also promoted the globalization of the company's organizational structure. The PlayStation VR 2, PSVR 2 headset was released on February 22nd. How do you analyze the reaction of game fans and the spread of hardware and software? So this is the first time we're hearing Jim Ryan talk about PSVR 2 since it launched. And he says PlayStation VR 2 has improved all kinds of functions compared to PSVR, and the performance and functions have been greatly improved. It's, again, translations. I'm very happy that it is loved by many game fans. Developers are also developing titles that make the most of the functions of PSVR 2 that we developed. And then Jim Ryan asks, have you experienced PSVR 2? Famitsu says, yes, I played it, Gran Turismo 7, and was surprised how realistic it was. Jim Ryan says, you could tell these questions are just set up. Jim Ryan says, Gran Turismo 7 is wonderful. In PSVR 2, there are many other excellent titles, such as Call of the Mountain, and we plan to enjoy Resident Evil 4 and Beat Saber in the future. Famitsu then asks, what do you think about the popularity of PSVR 2 hardware? Jim Ryan says PSVR 2 has just been launched, so it may be a little early to judge its popularity, but we are happy to see many positive reactions from users and in the media. I just listed some of the compatible titles, but more than 40 titles have been released around the launch of PSVR 2. In addition, there are many titles ahead of us in 2023 and beyond. We will continue to push forward so that those who purchase PSVR 2 can enjoy it for a long time, and we can also secure profits. So, um, yeah, I mean, there you go. Jim Ryan making it clear that it's, as he says, it's a bit too early to call whether or not PSVR 2 is a success. He seems to be teasing other games that are going to be announced. And he also says at the end here, which I think is interesting, that they want to make sure that anybody who purchases PSVR 2 will, be able to look forward to new games in the long run. But they also, he does, I don't know if this is a translation error, but he says, and we can also secure profits. So, and then Famitsu says, by the way, what is your favorite PSVR 2 title? You can tell this isn't real, bro. There are many, but the rhythm action game Beat Saber that is scheduled to be released in the future. Like, can you guys, I just want you to imagine Jim Ryan playing Beat Saber in PSVR 2. Come on, bro. Like, we all know Jim Ryan ain't playing Beat Saber in PSVR 2. And if he is, we need to see that shit. All right, we need to see that shit. Josh, you're saying, when will people understand Jim Ryan is a weapon? I mean, we haven't gotten to the most important part of this interview. So far, a lot of the stuff we've talked about, nothing major, right? It just feels kind of like, okay, stuff we probably already knew. I mean, it's obviously he's talking a lot about the Japanese market because he's talking to Famitsu, and that's always a question that people have. Does Sony care about the Japanese market anymore? Like, are they giving up on it? And this is kind of like Sony's annual, like, we need to remind everybody we still care about the Japanese market. But there's actually something really, really important coming up very soon that he talked about, which I think is the most important thing he revealed during this entire interview. Subtext, you're saying God of War sold how much on PC? 2 million? When their first party games sell 10 to 20 million on console and a fraction on PC, what would you prioritize? Yes. Yes, Subtext, you are teasing what is to come in this interview. You're teasing. So, all right, let's keep it going. Famitsu says in 2022, the movie Uncharted and the drama The Last of Us will be released, or was released. The Last of Us in particular has been extremely successful. Please tell us about the results of the multifaceted development of IP and your thoughts on future developments. Jim Ryan says, this question is very important. For the past 25 years, the titles we at PlayStation Studios have been able to play only on the PlayStation. However, games are not the only entertainment we provide. There are various categories such as music, movies, and dramas, but we are proud that we have the highest quality content in any category. We have long-term investments in these various entertainment categories. I want more people to enjoy these entertainments. With that in mind, the spread of strategy beyond game consoles is accelerating. The development of The Last of Us is also part of that strategy. This work was remade for PS5, and we released the PC version and produced a drama. So Famitsu says, will the success of that drama, they're talking about the HBO series, will the success of the HBO series affect sales? Did it affect sales of the remake of The Last of Us? Jim Ryan says, yes. In fact, we have a mechanism for tracking sales across all networks, so we can see exactly how sales are trending. As for The Last of Us, the number of games sold increased each time we released a new episode of the show. I think this is a wonderful thing. Whether it's a game or a drama or a show, it translates to drama. A game or a show, I'm happy that more people can enjoy The Last of Us as some form of entertainment. The synergetic effect of producing the show is like 2 + 2 = 5. So interesting. Famitsu says, I see. So in the future, will PlayStation Studios focus on developing software with a rich storyline that can be developed in many different ways? Jim Ryan says, PlayStation Studios will continue to focus on development for the PlayStation. However, when I deem it appropriate, I think I will work on games that can expand beyond the boundaries of game consoles. When thinking about where to expand an attractive IP, that's easy to come up. It's easy to come up with an answer about releasing it on PC because it's all you have to do is port it. What's more, what about movies? What about shows? It's attractive to be able to choose, and I'm very happy that the opportunities to choose are increasing more and more. Famitsu says, please let us know if there are any titles that you plan to develop in the near future. Oh, this is interesting. So Jim Ryan says the translations, the shooting game Twisted Metal, which has been out for a while. What? Okay, this is really messed up. I'm just going to read it word for word. The shooting game Twisted Metal, which has been out for a while at Ryan PlayStation, is going to be diversified from now on. In addition to that, we will release various movies in the future. But how will Twisted Metal in particular be reborn as entertainment other than games? I'm also looking forward to the interesting content. Okay, I have no idea what was said there. Moving right along here, Famitsu says, that sounds exciting. Finally, I have questions about the gaming PC market. In recent years, the gaming PC market has grown in Japan as well. From SIE's point of view, the number of PS5 rivals will increase, but please tell me your frank thoughts on the excitement of the gaming PC market in Japan. Jim Ryan says, I think it's a very good thing when considering the multifaceted development of game IP. PCs are indispensable for allowing more people to enjoy games in a variety of ways. I think more is better. Famitsu then says Sony Interactive Entertainment will continue to actively release PC versions in the future. Jim Ryan says we will be proactive. And then Famitsu says, while I'm happy to have more options, I would also like to see more PS5 exclusive titles for enthusiastic fans. Then Jim Ryan says, and I think this is probably the most significant thing he said this entire interview, quote, we also fully understand the importance of PS5 exclusive titles. As I said earlier, PlayStation Studios' main responsibility is to have people enjoy the gaming experience using the latest PlayStation. We are increasing the number of PS5 exclusive titles and staggering the release of PC versions. I often have the opportunity to ask game fans for their opinions, and when I ask them about the time lag, they say that selling the PC version 2 or 3 years after the release of the PlayStation version is accepted favorably. And so Famitsu says, so you regularly set up opportunities to hear the opinions of game fans. Which I would love to know who Jim Ryan is talking to, like which fans he's talking to, who he's is he watching us guys? Is he watching MBG? And Jim Ryan says, it's a community that we should cherish the most. We will continue to listen to the voices of game fans and develop various titles in a multifaceted way. So that's the end of the interview. And man, I gotta say, like, I'm not very happy. I'm not very happy about the fact that we finally get a new Jim Ryan interview and it's done in Japanese, because you can tell, like, there is so much just not coming through due to translation errors. I really hope we get another interview from Jim Ryan, hopefully a video interview that we could react to. It's been a long time. And Chris B, thank you, man. Chris B coming in with another 5 memberships gifted. I'll give you a Jim Ryan in celebration of that. Start talking. Give you a Jim Ryan quote here. So thank you, Chris B, keeping the train going. Guys, we are at 25 members on the day, which is amazing. So thank you for keeping this member train going, guys. We have Devilac 47. You're saying, glad to see the channel growth and super hyped for the show. I really hope to see a Bloodborne remake by Bluepoint. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if we can expect Bloodborne to show up during the showcase. I know a lot of people are absolutely hoping for that, but I want to put this out there. I'm just going to put it out there. Sony owns 14% of From Software. Okay, Sony owns 14% of From Software. There's a very, very, very high chance From Software will show up at the PlayStation Showcase. I'm not saying it's going to be Bloodborne. I'm just saying that there's a very good chance From Software will be part of Sony's showcase. Again, they own literally 14% of that studio. They didn't make that investment into the studio for no reason. Armored Core 6, yeah. I mean, it could just be as simple as that, man. So I appreciate that, Devilac. We got Decrypted Sir Speaks a Lot Says, I could use my billions of dollars of funding to fund a new Metal Gear Solid for MBG only, and he still wouldn't make me a mod, meaning his feet picks are expensive. Bro, Decrypted Sir speaks a lot. Take some of that money. I want you to do a from the ground up remake of not just Metal Gear Solid 3 and 4, but a ground up remake of the multiplayer components of Metal Gear Solid 3 and 4 as well. Okay. If you could do that, I'll let you be the king mod on the channel. But let's talk about this for a moment, guys. So here, I'm going to read this article from WCCF Tech because I feel like it's just easier to digest compared to reading the interview word for word. WCCF Tech says Sony Interactive Entertainment president and CEO Jim Ryan was featured in an interview published today by Japanese website Famitsu. The interviewer went through various topics, including the improved supply chain of the PS5 consoles. Jim Ryan highlighted that the PS5 had registered the best start ever for a Sony console, despite those supply chain issues or the issues that they encountered in the first couple of years. Sony plans to maintain favorable momentum thanks to upcoming PS5 exclusives, so on and so forth. Later in the interview, the executive mentioned Sony's plans to increase PS5 exclusives while keeping PC ports staggered. He added that PC fans didn't mind waiting 2 or 3 years to play those games on their platform. So, says, while Sony was always clear that at least the single-player exclusives would continue launching on console first and PC later, we were hoping the port timing would shrink rather than expand. The first big first-party game ported on PC was Horizon Zero Dawn, and obviously we've seen others, but it says here that the most recent port, Returnal, took less than 2 years. In October 2022, PlayStation Studios head Herman Holst said that single-player PS5 games would keep at least 1 year exclusivity on the console. So that's really what I wanted to kind of highlight here. Is it seems like Sony's strategy when it comes to PC has changed. All right, if we're going based off of what Jim Ryan just said, we went from hearing Herman Holst say in 2022 that we are going to give it at least 1 year to now Jim Ryan has moved that from 1 year to 2 to 3 years. I'll be honest, I think it's very obvious what Sony is doing in the PC space by now. I think that the past couple of years and ever since PlayStation decided to bring their games to PC, I think they wanted to experiment. I think they wanted to see, like, okay, what happens if we put a game that, came out 4 years ago onto PC? What about a game that's only a year old, like what we saw with Returnal? And they just, they've experimented where they tried all these different things. And I think that what they've ultimately determined is that, I could be wrong about this, but it just seems like it really depends on the game itself and that and whether or not it seems like it's actually going to sell. Because, like, dude, we saw Sony invest resources into porting Sackboy: A Big Adventure to PC, and it had like 600 total players. Returnal was a flop on PC. Returnal was a PS5 exclusive that they brought to PC 1 year later. Or was it? It was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was about a year later. So you take that and then you look at games like The Last of Us, where it launched completely broken and screwed up, and then you also consider that other games have succeeded, like God of War, Horizon. I think it's just obvious that the PC is not a priority for Sony. It's just not. It's a place for them to make extra money. That's how they view PC. And I just think it is pretty damn funny that I see so many PC players being like, I can't wait to see the next, PlayStation games announced for PC. And I'm sure there will be. Like, I think Ghost of Tsushima is likely to be next, right? Right? But it's just so funny to me to see so many people like I can't wait to see Sony bring more PC games or PlayStation games to PC. And Jim Ryan's just like, yeah, It's going to be like 2 to 3 years. And I don't know if he's the question I have is if he's counting, is he counting the live service games? I'm pretty sure he's not. We got Jim Ryan giving a super chat here saying my Beat Saber gameplay is coming soon. I love that, dude. We got the real Jim Ryan, clearly, with a super chat telling us that his Beat Saber gameplay is coming soon. I mean, I can't wait to see it, Jim. I had no idea. I had no idea that you would that you were such a big Beat Saber fan. Looking forward to it. It's like that's part of the showcase. Edward, you're saying unrelated topic, but how many button shape transitions do you think are going to be in the PlayStation showcase next week? Dude, probably like a minimum of like 20. And I can't wait to see it. I actually was just saying or thinking to myself the other day, I'm like, dude, you know what? I was thinking this because I just watched the latest video that PlayStation released on their YouTube channel was for the accessibility and the Project Leonardo, and they had a bunch of animated button transitions. I'm like, dude, whoever they hired, clearly back when the PS5 was first launching, whoever they hired to like come up with these transitions and these animations does a really, really good job. Like they actually look phenomenal. They look really good. And I know that sounds silly, but I do expect there to be some, a level of flashiness with the PlayStation showcase. So I'm expecting many button transitions. Absolutely. But yeah, this is I don't know. What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think? Because I will say, I've been hearing ever since Sony decided that they were going to start putting some of their games on the PC. I've been hearing pretty much every year from a lot of different people like, well, it's just, they're going to do day and date. It's just a matter of time until they do day and date. And I was always like, I don't think so, man. Like at least with their single player games, I don't think so. And now Jim Ryan straight up just I think Jim Ryan basically just single-handedly murdered that. You're saying Horizon Forbidden West PC getting announced next week? It could. It definitely could. But that's the thing is if Horizon Forbidden West gets announced for PC at the showcase, then that means at the earliest it's coming the second half of this year, but it could not come until possibly 2024, and by that point it's 2 years old, so it's like these games are still going to come, but I think it's a good strategy. I'll be honest. I think Sony has the best strategy when it comes to respecting the fact that you're selling a console that you want people who are buying that console to feel like they're the priority. This is something we've talked about a lot with Xbox, where Microsoft has completely dropped the ball when it comes to their console fans, where their console fans are not even remotely the priority. They take a back seat, you know? And we always kind of feared, like, now that PlayStation is embracing PC, would they do the same thing? And no, they're not doing that at all. They're doing quite the opposite. I think that this balance they have, where it's like we're still going to create PlayStation exclusive games, and if any of those games do eventually go to PC, it's going to be like multiple years later, you know. And as somebody who cares about exclusives on a console and believes they're very important, I think that's perfect. And I don't think it's going to be every game. I think Sony has pretty much proven that they don't have the capability to put all of their games onto PC. They have to pick and choose. You know, they have to prioritize certain titles over others. Wes Stewart, you're saying 2 to 3 years later for PC ports is a smart play. Games will sell for years after release on console. That builds hype, and then people are starving for them on PC. Yeah, dude. Like, I don't. I mean, a lot of people are wondering when is Ghost of Tsushima gonna be announced for PC, and I was thinking maybe it would be announced very, very soon, because maybe Ghost of Tsushima 2 will be announced at the showcase, but maybe not. It might not get announced till sometime next year potentially. But yeah, I think it's a smart play on Sony's part. I do think it's interesting that Jim Ryan didn't talk at all about live service games because I'm pretty sure that's not like live service games do not count with that 2 to 3 year window when it comes to PC ports. I think like games like and I would be surprised if I was wrong, and it would be very interesting if I was wrong. But I think that the basic strategy is for all of our live service games, we're going to launch them day and date onto PC. But here's the thing: like we talk about the Last of Us multiplayer, right? We talk about it's definitely going to release on PC day and date, guys. Look at The Last of Us Part 1. I don't think Naughty Dog is ready to I don't think it's going to be out on PC day 1, you know? Not I think they would love to do that, but I literally don't think they can. Naughty Dog just tried their hand at their first ever PC port and it was a colossal disaster. Or it could be the reason why it was a colossal disaster was because they're actually busy prioritizing the PC version of the multiplayer game. So it still could come. I'm just saying, like, based off of what are the evidence we have right now, I don't know. I don't know. Like I could see a situation where they launch The Last of Us multiplayer first on PlayStation, and then maybe in like 6 months to a year, be like, and it's coming to PC later. Kind of like what they did with The Last of Us Part 1. But I don't know. I think with live service games, it would be in Sony's best interest to try to get them day and date on the PC. But if they're not ready to launch on PC, because keep that in mind. One of the key advantages, whether it's a live service game or a single player game, one of the key advantages that PlayStation Studios developers have in you know making their games is they only have to worry about optimizing it for the PS5, and that cuts down the development time very significantly. If they say we want to launch this game day and date, like a live service game day and date onto PC, they're going to have to make sure that game is properly optimized for PC unless they're just willing to launch it broken, and I think that would be the worst possible thing to do. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I do anticipate their live service games will go to PC as soon as they possibly can. Some of them might be day and date, others might have to come later. But the number one thing I don't want to see is Sony rush out any game that just simply isn't ready. You know, saying I bet Factions 2 is taking forever because of the PC version. That would be disappointing. That would be disappointing to find out. Because it's like, I don't know. I would like to think the reason why it took so long is because it's just a big game. Like they have a lot of content they wanted to create and pack in with it. I mean, this is where, I'll be honest with you. I don't know what to expect with day and date live service games now on PC, simply just because of what Jim Ryan said. You're saying blaming PC. Well, I'm not blaming PC. I'm just saying that it's just a fact. It's just a cold hard fact, man. Like if Naughty Dog was making a game for the PS5, that will take less time to optimize than if they have to make a game for PS5 and PC. It's just a fact, dude. A lot more optimization has to be done for all the different PC configurations. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And Aaron Yogurt, member for 19 months, saying MBG, the algorithm wants surprised face on the thumbnail and clickbait titles. Have you considered Twitch? A good 1,000 people will show up day one. No, I mean, no, I haven't considered Twitch. Just because it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know anything about Twitch. I've heard honestly mostly bad things about Twitch. If I'm being totally honest, like I've heard mostly bad things about Twitch, not many good things at all. And YouTube definitely isn't perfect, but YouTube is kind of like what I know. I don't necessarily know that it's the devil I know. They're not perfect, but I don't know. I'm just so used to it. I enjoy it. Saying Twitch has gone downhill. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about Twitch. I mean, my established audience is here too, you know? Figuratively literal, you're saying, not surprised there was a reason why so many companies used this strategy. No one can deny the business merit of exclusives. It motivates quality too. And that, and that to me is the number one thing here is I'm glad to hear Jim Ryan say it again. Wh- I'm glad to hear Jim Ryan say that we understand the importance of PlayStation 5 exclusivity. We understand the importance of exclusives and we still care about them and we still prioritize them because they are important, man. Like no matter what anybody tells you, they are important because they matter to console manufacturers. And I would argue even beyond that, right? Like even if you look at services like Game Pass, like I could be wrong. I saw recently apparently Microsoft struck some kind of deal with Nvidia where they announced like Gears 5 and like some other Microsoft exclusives were going to launch into or be available on like Nvidia's service or something like that. And I saw there were some people annoyed where they're like, so wait, like these games aren't exclusive to Xbox at all? Like, you know what I mean? Like even some people were saying like I think at the very least it should stay in the Xbox ecosystem. And this is just like, dude, that's not that's not going to happen for Microsoft, but I think, you look at Nintendo, you look at Sony, exclusivity has served them very, very well. And exclusivity is one of the reasons I'm so excited for Spider-Man 2. And what I mean by that is I know for a fact that Insomniac is going to do some crazy shit with this game on the PS5 that if they had to release this on the PC and worry about optimizing for the PC and worry about other consoles and other hardware, the game probably wouldn't be in the shape that it's going to launch in, or it would need a lot more time. And we got Brad Beck gifting another membership as well, bringing us up to 26 new members on the day. Love to see it. Thank you so much. Thank you, man. Really appreciate you keeping that train
Kept you
going.
waiting, huh?
26 new members on the day, guys. Actually, 27. 27. But yeah, dude, exclusivity, it's important, man. And I just hate that the narrative in the past couple of years, like people have been trying to shift the narrative to make it seem like, exclusives are only a bad thing. And I've talked about how like in an ideal utopian world that doesn't exist and will not exist, that there would be no exclusives. Yes, that would be great. But it just doesn't make any sense, Like it just simply doesn't make any sense for Nintendo or for Sony as console hardware manufacturers to say, we don't need exclusives to sell our hardware. No, you do. You definitely do. You definitely do. And if people need further proof of that, look at how the Xbox console is struggling, man. That console has pretty much no exclusives. And you see that it's just struggling. And everybody said that when Microsoft decided to go day and date on PC and then also onto Game Pass and then put Game Pass everywhere, the console was going to suffer, and the console buyers and the console owners were going to take a back seat. And we've heard Microsoft year after year after year try to explain to people like, no, you guys, we want you to feel awesome, and you're not taking a back seat. But like they literally are. Like like actions speak louder than words. And for years, Xbox console owners have gotten the shit end of the stick. That's just the way it's been, man. And there's no better proof of that than what we've seen recently. Meanwhile, Switch owners and PlayStation 5 owners are getting some of the best stuff in the industry. So it's like, this is why I'm not going to go against exclusivity and say, yeah, exclusivity is bad. Like, I understand if you don't want to buy a dedicated console to play an exclusive game and you're annoyed by that, but I don't care. I just do not give a shit. Like, cry all you want. That's the way it is. Just go buy it. Just go play it. And if you don't want it, then don't. Like, it's that simple, man. And it frustrates me that, like, I don't know, man. The conversation has gotten weird the past couple years. It has. I mean, in the future, exclusives will still exist. Like, if like 30 years from now everybody's playing their games through the cloud, through services, exclusivity will still exist. You know, like when you're playing like God of War 10 on the cloud 20 years from now, it's still going to be exclusive to PlayStation service. Content is king, man. Content is king. And that's why exclusivity will always exist, no matter what. Saying that's a bleak future. It might not be as bad as we think. At least that's what I have to tell myself. Because if playing games through the cloud is the way everybody's doing it, then it must be pretty damn good, right? That's what I have to tell myself. Saying more like 10 years. Oof. Well, 10 years is a long time. Nah, dude, no, not 10 years from now. Like the PlayStation 6 is still, we're talking about being in the PlayStation 6 generation 10 years, Grandpa Barbecuer Game Cat saying, if I were Sony, I'd release the original Ghost of Tsushima a couple weeks after number 2 on PS5 due to all the hype there would be. I mean, that would be an interesting strategy as well. I think the best strategy for Sony would be to, the day that they announce Ghost of Tsushima 2, they announce that Ghost of Tsushima is the first game is coming to PC, because I feel like that worked for Sony with Horizon and God of War, but maybe not as well as they thought, man. Maybe not as well as they thought. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. We got Jay Pierce keeping the train going, man. Keeping the member train going. Jay Pierce gives another membership. Thank you so much for that, Jay. Guys, by all means, continue to keep this member train going. We are slowly climbing our way to our goal. I mean, we did actually crush our goal today. I want to make that clear. That we had a goal. It was originally supposed to be 25, but I forgot to update it. So we already crushed our goal. Love to see it, man. Thank you for the support. Subtext, you're saying, I know it's better to ignore, but it was annoying seeing Xbox fans rushing to say, so exciting that Sony is doing PC Station Showcase. Now sees this news. And Herpy Derps. Herpy Derps keeping it going with a membership gift of his own. Thank you so much, Herpy Derps. Let's get some W's in the chat for Herpy Derps. I feel like I said his name too many times. But that brings us up to 28. 28 memberships on the day, guys. Love to see it. Subtext, yeah, dude, I've been seeing that too. And I don't know why they say this shit, dude. Because it's like, do you want to see the PlayStation console deprioritized? Like, I don't know if it's Xbox fans saying it or PC fans. Maybe maybe PC players, right? And it's like, nothing against PC players, but it's just like, dude, it just comes off as sad, Like, I don't know, man. I'm not an advocate for that. I'm not an advocate for yeah, we need all games to go to PC. Like, fuck that, dude. There's nothing wrong. No, it's not that there's anything wrong with some PC ports, but I'm a console player, man. And I want to see the console be the priority by the console manufacturer. Let me say that one more time so people don't misconstrue it, because I know some people will try to misconstrue it. I'm not saying that I want that PC players should care about console. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I care about console. And I'm saying if Sony is going to make a console, I would like them to show that they care about it too. That's all I'm saying. And it's that simple, man. It's that simple. And if Sony was doing what Microsoft was doing with games going to PC, I don't know. You're saying it sounds like gatekeeping? It is gatekeeping. It is gatekeeping. That's exactly what it is. And it should be there for a reason. Dude, this industry is going to go to shit at some point. I mean, parts of this industry it's already gone to shit, dude. People make it sound like gatekeeping is such a terrible, horrible thing. Why does nobody ever talk about the actual like benefits of gatekeeping? Oh wait, we can't do that in this PC culture these days. Has to be just nothing but all inclusivity, right? Like gaming for everybody. Like that's fine. I get it. I would love everybody to enjoy video games. But the reality is not everybody's going to enjoy the types of games that, we've come to expect from a platform like PlayStation. And that's why I'm just of the mindset, Sony, don't go to them, bring them to you. Bring them to you. Don't go to them, because the people, like, if that is what ends up happening, then you're catering to the wrong group of people, man. You're catering to the wrong, I'm not even going to say fans, because they're not fans. That's the shit that Xbox has had to do. Xbox has to bring their shit to people and try to get them interested. People who were never interested to begin with. That's a tough sell, man. Saying gatekeeping can be a necessity, especially when your focus is to sell consoles, keep quality. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, everybody the people who make it sound like gatekeeping is only a bad thing. Just buy a fucking PlayStation. Just buy a Switch, and buy the games you want to play. And stop bitching about it. That's my mindset. Let me see. We got Kaz Jam. You're saying, I prefer first-party games to take full advantage of the PS5 instead of worrying about variable PC hardware. Agreed. Absolutely agreed, man. Absolutely agreed. Another reason why I think that what Jim Ryan's saying here, like, if we're going to bring these games to PC, we're going to do it 2 to 3 years later. I think that's actually good for the PC market as well, to a degree, because let's take Spider-Man 2, for example. Spider-Man 2 couldn't release. If Spider-Man 2 is coming out at the end of this year, it couldn't really. It technically could release on PC if they wanted it to. They could sell Spider-Man 2 on PC, but it would probably be a fucking complete broken mess. Like, just entirely broken. And that's assuming that Insomniac isn't going to do some crazy shit with the SSD and IO throughput of the PS5. I mean, everybody told me that Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was going to come to PC, and I'm just like over here like, I don't see it. It might still, but I'm just saying, like, it's probably beneficial for any of these games that will eventually go to PC, because Sony is clear, in my opinion, Sony's at this point, especially after what happened with The Last of Us, they're going to have to take their time to make sure the game is optimized for PC hardware, for all the different PC configurations. Because if not, it's going to backfire, And if you're a PC player, that's what you would want, right? At least I would hope so. I mean, I've been seeing PC players just losing their minds this year, understandably, with broken PC ports. And it's like, these ports clearly need more time, man. They clearly need more time. And so, Sony, they want to make the priority the PS5. And then if they decide they want to bring a game to PC, they take a year or two to work on that. I think that works out perfect for everybody, frankly. Hellbound 1981, keeping it going, bringing us up to 30 memberships. That's actually, I'm 2 behind here. 30 memberships today. Thank you so much, Hellbound. Let's get some W's in the chat for Hellbound. You guys are keeping this train going. Love to see it. Really appreciate it. See if we can end up hitting 50 today. Should be sick. So Kaz Jam, I 100% agree with you, buddy. I do want to see, like, I mean, look, man, we've talked many times about all the things that Mark Cerny said about the PS5 hardware and what could potentially be possible. So I really hope we see it. I really hope we see it. Give me 1 second. I need to open my window. Need some fresh air. It's getting stuffy in here. Do I think MGS3 Remake will go to PC? I think so, yeah. I do think so. Because that, again, it is a Konami title. Unless Sony went like the extra mile and was like, we want to actually pay you to just focus on the PS5. But it is a remake, so I don't know that like they're going to do anything crazy with it. You know what I mean? And we got Herpy Derps coming in with a 5-bomb. Another 5-bomb. Herpy Derps coming in strong.
You're all
Thank you so much, man. Bringing us up to 35 members on the day. 35 members. Insanity. You guys are insane. You guys are insane. Shout out to Herpy Derps. Let's get some W's in the chat for Herpy Derps coming in. I think that's 6 memberships gifted by you today, man. Really do appreciate it, bud. Keep that train going. Keep that train going. Herpy Derps is spreading. He's spreading something. Spreading memberships. Brad Beck, you're saying, member for 1 month, you're saying, I want to sub as a member on my own dime so my gifted membership doesn't lapse, but I can't figure out where to do it. It just says I'm already a member. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure. I think what has to happen is it has to expire first. So if you keep remaining a member because you're being gifted memberships, I think you just legitimately have to wait until, month over month until it eventually expires. And then you will actually be able to manually do that. Or another thing I think you can do is if you go to the membership tab, I do have 2 other tiers for members, 2 higher tiers, just for, people who want to go the extra mile to support. You can, I think, upgrade your membership. That's one way to do it. Because right now, YouTube doesn't do gifted memberships for higher tiers. They only do it for the base tier. Yeah, and I think that is one way you could do it too. You can actually turn off the ability to be gifted memberships. So that means when your gifted membership expires, it'll guarantee you won't get another one stacked on top of it. So I appreciate that, Brad. The Furious, you're saying Phil started the generation saying exclusives are bad, LOL. It's the rhetoric surrounding Microsoft's just their entire approach to gaming is ridiculous. Like, it's literally hypocritical where they're like, we want to enable more players, like more people to play games on any device they want, where they want, but we're not releasing Starfield on PlayStation. Like, shut the fuck up, Like, shut the fuck up. It's crazy. This is why, dude, this is why I have the attitude I do towards Xbox and the fan base. Because that's literally a thing that happened. It didn't just happen recently. It happens almost every day. MBG language. I'm sorry, man. I'm a little bit. I'm not cranky today. I just got a bit of an edge. Got a bit of a chip on my shoulder. I don't know why. I have no idea why. Maybe I didn't sleep too well last night. Xbox needs to change its messaging, man. Their messaging needs to be, we want to enable people to play games anywhere on any device as long as it's through Game Pass. Like, they just need to change it to, we want to put Game Pass everywhere so everybody can play on Game Pass. That's what they need to say. Because that's really what they mean. And that's why Starfield isn't on PS5. Starfield would be on PS5 if only Sony would let Game Pass onto PlayStation. If only Sony would do the right thing and let Game Pass on PlayStation. You're saying you have that attitude because there is no one to rebuttal. Oh, you are wrong about that, dude. I get a lot of rebuttals Trust me. Whether it's from, people in the chat sometimes, certainly people on Twitter. Oh, trust me, they will rebuttal all day, every day. It's just the reason why I don't care to have conversations like that too extensively is because I've already made up my mind. And you might say I'm closed-minded, but I've opened my mind and I've evaluated all of the different scenarios and I've come to my own conclusions. You know, I have my own opinions, and some of them I could, some things in the future I may be proven completely wrong about. I may be proven right. But tell you right now, man, when it comes to what Jim Ryan's saying in this interview, I'm cool with it, PlayStation 5 exclusives, bring them on. Jay Pierce, you're saying, I don't mind exclusives, but when a company like Microsoft buys these companies and then takes the games from other platforms, then I don't like that. I think that's what Xbox fans fail to realize. Yes, absolutely, Jay. I should have read this before I even said what I said about Starfield. Not trying to turn it into one of those things, but it's just, we have Jim Ryan coming out and he's reaffirming that, like, yeah, exclusives are important to PlayStation, the PS5. We're going to continue to deliver them, and that's just how it's going to be. And there's always people who are trying to just kind of tear that down, where it's like, okay, well, I don't know what to tell them anymore. But I'm in agreement with you, like. It's like, I mean, I'm not going to get into that argument again about like Sony doing third-party exclusives versus, Microsoft buying publishers. We've talked about that more than enough, but all that matters, Jay, is that people see very clearly that exclusivity exists. It's not going anywhere, no matter what any platform holder wants to tell you, that's just the fact of the matter. And that's how it's always been. That's how it always will be. It doesn't matter whether it's for a console, a service, it doesn't matter. If they have an ecosystem and a platform where the goal is to get people into it, then exclusivity will not only exist, but it will be the priority. Exclusivity sells. There you go. It's simple as that. Crucifixion nailed it. Exclusivity sells, and that's why Microsoft's buying. That's why Microsoft's buying. That's interesting because, like, not to bring it up again, but the thought just popped into my mind where it's like there's been all of this fighting over Call of Duty, and like, everybody who's against Sony's argument, they've said over and over again, like, but Call of Duty's still going to be on PlayStation. Like, it's not going to be exclusive. Well, that's true, but Microsoft knows that in a way, they are going to have some type of exclusive, right? And the exclusive they're likely going to have is, well, we get to put it in the Game Pass. And it's like, oh, well, Microsoft was going to let Sony license Call of Duty to put in the PlayStation. But how much would that license cost? Microsoft knows Sony isn't going to pay that. Microsoft knows it wouldn't make any financial sense for Sony to pay that. So in a way, it's like we do get that exclusive because we own Call of Duty now. We get to put it into Game Pass, and we get to exclusively give it to Game Pass subscribers. See what I'm saying? Like, so even if you look at it from that perspective, it's like, to a degree, it's what do we have that they don't, that will attract customers? It all comes back down to exclusivity, man. Who has what? Who has what? It's only natural. Pyric Victory, you're saying, MBG, do you think we'll see Pragmata from Capcom at the showcase, or will it be another deep down? I would hope we see it. I think it's worth mentioning. It's worth mentioning that Pragmata is not Pragmata is not an exclusive. Yo, real quick, I see an individual in the chat, Rocky Gaming. He says 38 L's for Sony in 1 year. Bro, where'd you read that from? Who said that? I know Rocky Gaming, you can't fool me, man. I know you didn't come up with that. Where'd you read it? Tell me. Where'd you read it? I'm curious. I'll wait. It's fine. I know there's a little bit of delay. Rocky Gaming says, what? Oh, Rocky Gaming doesn't know what I'm talking about, apparently. I know where you read it. It's okay, though. I get it. The last thing you want is to expose that you're a hardcore Xbox fan. No, it's not that serious. So, like, I saw that going around, the whole, like, Sony's taken 38 L's. It's funny to me that, like, this is what I'm talking about, dude. Where it's like, for those who aren't aware, like, that rhetoric stems from, yeah, the regulatory bodies. But I've seen it going around in certain circles, and it's just this is why I mentioned it earlier in the stream today, where it's just like, what are you guys doing, man? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, how, like, why are we, apparently when a regulatory body passes the Activision Blizzard shit, apparently that's an L for Sony, even though Sony's like getting ready to literally fucking obliterate. You know, I'm not going to get that cocky. I'm just simply going to say, even though Sony's getting ready to do a showcase after a year and a half of not doing a showcase, it's like, I don't know what it's going to take, bro. I don't know what it's going to take. I'm seeing this rhetoric out there. It's like, hold the line. Like, hold the fucking line. Like, dude, you guys are advocating for a $1 trillion company buying a multi-billion dollar company. Take a step back and take a deep breath for the love of all that is holy, for your own good. Oh, I love it, though. It's fun. It's funny. I gotta admit, it is pretty funny. But yeah, guys, Sony's taken 38 L's and counting. 38 L's and counting. I'll just straight up say it, bro. I'll just straight up say it. Like, at this point, the number one thing that I'm focused on is, I'm like, okay, well, Sony's doing a showcase. And to me, it's pretty clear the showcase is going to be big. I don't want to, like, you know, I don't want to create that type of discussion where it's like, is this going to be literally the greatest showcase that any platform holder ever puts on? I'm not talking like that. I'm confident it's going to be, at the very least, very, very good. And one that people will talk about for a long time. I'm like absolutely ready. I could be wrong. I think Sony is beginning to now operate under the assumption that this deal is done, right? Like that. Okay, now we have to just operate as if, you know, Microsoft is potentially going to get Activision Blizzard, and it's just like, you know, saying MBG, you were flexing for a pro-consumer deal getting blocked. Okay, man. Oh, Jesus. I don't know what to say at this point. If you think this deal is pro-consumer, fine. I cannot. There's nothing I could ever say to convince you otherwise, and I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise. All right? The only thing I'm gonna ask is just try to think a little bit bigger picture. That's all. That's literally all I will encourage. Just think bigger picture. All right, and really think about that and let it gestate for a little while, and then see where it leads you. And then we have Emmanuel Parry coming in with a 5-bomb, bro. Thank you so much,
You're
Emmanuel.
breathtaking.
Let's get some W's in the chat for Emmanuel Parry, keeping the member train going. Bringing us up to 40 members on the day, getting ever closer to the 50 goal. Oops. That was actually, that was wrong. Bringing us up to 40. And what's this I see? Exley 3000 coming in again with another 10 bomb. Another 10 bomb. Bringing us up to 50, crushing our goal on the day. 50 new members on the day. Let's get some W's and trains in the chat for Exley 3000 and Emmanuel Parry. Thank you guys so much. And these, as you guys can see, these gifts are just being distributed immediately. So I told you that this is exactly what was going to happen. We are, let me see. I don't know. I don't know if this broke. Where are we now? Guys, we may have hit a new milestone. Remind me to check. At the end of the stream. Because we're at 50 now. I think we hit a new total member milestone. Which isn't, and it's an insane milestone. It's like, it's unbelievable if it's true. But I got to give it a couple minutes to update. And also, I noticed my camera's shaking a lot today. That's my bad. It's the way I have it positioned. Like, I keep kind of slightly shaking my desk. But, yeah, guys, stick around for the stream because we're going to go over that. We're going to go over that fake leaked list, man. Or real. I don't know. Is it real? Is it fake? Who knows? But apparently the entire showcase leaked. So we're going to go over that. Don't worry. We're getting to that very soon. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just tired. I am tired of it, but at the same time, it's like I can't help but find myself kind of going round and round with it. But yeah, there's just a lot of rhetoric surrounding this stuff, and I just try to keep it as simple as I can, and I'll just bring it back to this. Like, the reason why I'm in agreement with what Jim Ryan is saying here, and why I think Sony's doing the smart thing and the more strategic thing, and overall, I think the more beneficial thing to everybody is because it's like, you could throw around terms like gatekeeping, you can throw around terms like pro or anti-consumer. I'm throwing around terms such as high quality. I'm throwing around terms such as consistency because this is what PlayStation brings to the table. And I know for a fact that when I tune into this PlayStation showcase, I'm not going to see low quality games. I know I'm not going to see mid games. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, we're going to see some smaller games and some medium sized games and everything. And of course, there will be some games that I see during the showcase. And I'm like, not really interested. But I know for a fact that, like, Sony's going to deliver, and they're going to prove once again, like, they know what they're doing, and they know what their fans want, and they know what people want, and they know what people like me want. And that's why I feel like when I read interviews like this from Jim Ryan, I feel like he is kind of speaking directly to me, not just to me, literally me personally, but like as a fan. And yeah, it's really that simple. And so regardless of what any other platform holder or publisher's doing, I think this is a smart way to go about it. Jim Ryan saying we're going to have even more PlayStation 5 exclusivity. We know the importance of PlayStation 5 exclusivity. It's all about getting people to play on the latest PlayStation, but also knowing that not literally everybody is going to go buy a PlayStation, and it might benefit them from a financial perspective, but also in spreading their IP. In a couple years goes by, everybody who wanted to buy a PlayStation to get this game did so. Everybody who wanted to play it, on the PlayStation did so. And so now we're going to push these games out to an audience where, we'll get a little bit more money from them. So That's one thing I really like about Sony, and what I really like about Jim Ryan's leadership is people can say what they will about Jim Ryan, but Sony has been very precise and very strategic in every move they make, and you could tell like none of their moves are made out of desperation. None of their moves are made out of anything other than let's really think about this and let's take a very intelligent strategic approach to it. It's not to say that Sony's perfect and they don't make any mistakes. Of course they do and they will, but that's all it boils down to, man. Like that's all it boils down to, and that's why it's just like, people could say like, "Oh, EBG, you're against a pro-consumer move like Activision Blizzard being purchased," and it's like, if that's how you see it, then I don't know what's left to say other than you go support that. You go support that brand. You go support that platform, and I hope it works out for you. I'm good over here because it's working out for me, and that's the best I can offer. And I think that's totally fair. So do as you will do. We got, oh yeah, and sorry, Pyrrhic Victory. I definitely got off track, but when it comes to Pragmata, I mean, you would think the timing is right for that game to show up again. But I think people do get confused. Pragmata is actually a multi-platform game. Sony could have changed that. Sony could have said like maybe hey, Capcom, you want to work out an exclusivity deal? That could have happened. Is it another Deep Down? It could be another Deep Down. I hope it isn't, because Pragmata actually looked really interesting. But yeah, that game, we haven't seen anything of it, unfortunately. The dude, member for a month, you're saying there's legitimately no valid reasoning to be upset about Sony porting to PC. Nobody in the chat has given a valid reason as to why, just emotions. Well, I think it greatly depends on what you mean by Sony porting to PC. If you're saying like Sony porting to PC, like with like day and date, well, I mean, to me, there, like I said, I did talk about it earlier. There are some problems there. If you're talking about Sony's approach to porting PC now, you're saying you don't mean day and date. Well, yeah, I will say I have seen there are still people who are of the mindset that Sony should just be not doing anything on PC at all. And I get that. I get where that extreme mindset comes from. And I think a big part of that is because Sony has proven throughout the decades that they don't need to do that to succeed. So I understand why it's like, well, you guys never had to do it before. Why do you need to do it now? Like, if your whole thing is you're just trying to be successful and profitable, what gives? But I do think that people with that very extreme mentality, where it's like no game should go to PC, I think you should ease up on that. I think you should, because Sony is out here literally proving that it's actually okay. Like it's okay to find a balance where it's like, well, how many people bought PS5s to play Horizon Zero Dawn? Right? Probably none. Probably none. Probably not a single person. Right? So it's like, so what type of damage would we potentially be doing to our console or our brand if we port Horizon Zero Dawn now? What did it was it in 2020? When did Horizon Zero Dawn come to PC? Was that 2019 or 2020? I think it was pretty close to the PS5 launching. But they ported it after it was clear that like everybody who wanted to buy this game bought it on PlayStation. Like no one's going out there and buying this game, or buying a console to play this game. So it's like, well, how many sales could we get? So I did get a super chat earlier. I forget from who, but they were like, what, God of War sold 2 million? I don't know if that number's true, but even if it was I think it was like 3 million. I think God of War sold like about 3 million copies on PC at almost, I think it pretty much like full price, like $50 or something. And it was, what was it, like 3 years, I think, after it came out? So it's like, to me, I don't see how that, did that damage the PS4 and the PS4 sales? The answer is no. It did not. Not at all. Not even. Did it damage PS5 sales? No, it did not. If God of War Ragnarok comes to PC in early 2025 or late 2024, does that damage PS5 sales? No, dude. It literally doesn't at all. The reason being is because by that time, we're probably going to be close to getting this new IP from Sony Santa Monica. That's what's going to sell PS5 consoles. So this is where I'm saying, like, Sony, the only thing that concerns me about Sony and PC is how much, like, the resources, right? Like, how many resources is it taking up? I know for a fact that Sony is not going to allow PC game development to interfere with PS5 game development. We already know that. But what does concern me is like what we saw with The Last of Us Part 1, where it's like, don't do that either, you know? Like, I think everybody's in agreement that it just literally would have been better for Sony to not release The Last of Us Part 1 onto PC when they did. Give it another year if you need to. But when you release it, just make sure it's ready to go, you know, and properly working. I think it's clear Sony did that because of The Last of Us HBO, and that I don't like to see. But you know, you're saying you haven't seen a single valid argument. I'll be honest with you. I don't know that there's a valid argument to be made for no games ever being ported to PC. I don't know that there is. You know, I mean, the closest thing I could get to it is that, well, Sony probably would be perfectly fine not porting anything to PC. But I don't think there's any damage in porting some games to PC when it makes sense. And that's the key word there, is when it makes sense. You know, it's too easy to go in one extreme or the other. It's too easy to say, well, Sony shouldn't port anything to PC. It's also too easy to say, well, Sony should just go day and date and embrace that. You know, what's not easy is to just, well, seemingly for some people, it's not easy for some people to just simply say, well, what if there's a middle ground that makes perfect sense? You know, like the middle ground that Sony is actually actively incorporating right now. You know, like to me, that's how it should be handled. That's how it is being handled. And I don't see that changing ever. I don't. You know, the PS5 has the potential to go on to be the best-selling PlayStation console of all time. I know that sounds crazy to people, but it does. It legitimately does. The PS5 could reach heights that we've just never seen for the console before. It'll be a difficult thing to achieve. But even if it doesn't, like if the PS5, I'm not saying it needs to sell 155 million units. If the PS5 goes on to sell 120, 130 million units, well then, let me ask you, are we going to get a PlayStation 6? I'm going to answer that for you. Obviously, the answer's hell yeah, we're getting a PlayStation 6. Now, if the PlayStation 6 goes on to sell another 100, 110, 120, 130 million units, are we going to get a PlayStation 7? The answer's hell yes, we're going to get it. You see what I'm saying? And until the day comes where Sony puts out a PlayStation console that does like abysmal numbers, where it's like, this console's not going to hit 100 million. Actually, it's struggling to hit 70 million. And we're approaching the end of the gen. Once it peaks and starts to slowly go down, that's when you'll start to see Sony begin to pivot. Not immediately, but slowly away from console. Whether that's... Now, why would people stop buying PlayStation consoles? Well, it won't be because of exclusives, that's for sure. If people stop buying PlayStation consoles the way that they are now, it'll be simply because the way people play games has changed. Maybe they're playing on the cloud. I mean, again, we're talking like multiple generations from now. People are playing on the cloud. People are playing on their TVs, whatever, you know? It's getting beamed right into their brain. I don't fucking know, you know? Who the hell knows? But I think it's safe to say we're going to get a PlayStation 6 and exclusives are going to be the priority for the PlayStation 6. We're going to get a PlayStation 7 and the exclusives are going to be a priority for the PlayStation 7. After that, I don't know what it looks like. I just know for a fact that as long as Sony continues to sell tens of millions, hundreds of millions of consoles, they're going to keep going. They're going to keep going, and there's never going to be a time where they believe that exclusives are not responsible for it. Okay? There's never going to be a time where Sony's not going to believe that exclusives are not responsible, if I'm saying that correctly. But you understand what I'm saying. Exclusives are responsible. You know? Have we ever, I mean, I'm curious, have we ever seen a truly successful console in all of console history that did great numbers without exclusive games? Have we ever seen that? Has that ever existed? Saying Xbox? No. The 360? No. The 360 had exclusives. I would argue that the 360 did amazing because of exclusives. Right? The Soulja Boy console. Oh, shit. Yeah. I don't think so, dude. The KFC console, well, they had that exclusive chicken fryer built in or something, right? Or warmer. So they had even KFC knew you need some type of exclusivity. Even KFC knew we got to offer something that the competition doesn't as a reason to buy our console. Chicken warmer. Keep your chicken warm inside the console. Dude, I forgot about that, man. So I'm just saying, like, Sony is, in my opinion, Sony and Nintendo, for that matter, they're both continuing to prove that even though it is an old formula, even though it is a formula that hasn't changed, it is a formula that continues to prove to be successful, and the growth is still there in a huge way. The Switch is doing incredible numbers. The PS5 is doing incredible numbers. Their games are doing incredible numbers. And in turn, it's attracting not only customers, but developers and publishers and the whole nine yards. You know? So, when it comes to Sony embracing PC, I think it was a long time coming. And I think that basically, to put it as simply as I can, the way that Sony is handling PC right now when it comes to PlayStation games is the way I foresee them handling it for a long, long time. A long time. I'm talking like multiple generations worth. And if any major pivot in how they approach PC, as well as, you know, anything outside of PC and outside of PlayStation, I think any major pivot's going to come way later. Subtext, you're saying response to the dude. A legit reason is to ensure a creative vision is fulfilled without compromise. Porting is fine, but day and date would add complexity. See Final Fantasy 16 developers saying PC needs more time. Well, there you go, subtext. To be fair to the dude, he did say that he wasn't talking about day and date, but that is a great argument against day and date. It is truly just that. Like, let the developers focus on a single piece of hardware, fulfill their vision without compromise, and then PC can come later. You know, that's the beauty of having a single console to develop for, or at most maybe just two SKUs. You know, it really is taking a big load off of the shoulders of developers, where it's like, well, optimization, you know, at least we can just focus on this, and we don't have to worry about all the other stuff. We can worry about that later. Final Fantasy 16 is absolutely a perfect example of that. Not because Sony paid for 6-month minimum exclusivity, but because they came out and said themselves that, like, yeah, the PC version is going to come way after 6 months because we're going to need time. We're going to need time to optimize. If anything, it just goes to show, like, how difficult. I don't know. I think it just goes to show how difficult PC optimization really can be for bigger AAA games these days. You're saying they absolutely paid to keep it off of PC? Well, for 6 months. Yes, for 6 months. But I think it was Yoshi P. Dude, he said, and unless he just straight up lied, which I don't think he would lie about it. He literally told people, like, please do not expect the PC version 6 months later because it's going to take longer for us to work on it. So, you got to take that for what it is, man. Got to take that for what it is. JD Gamer, you're saying, real question, MBG, what do you say in a world where the following games are bangers? Starfield, September. Forza, October. Hellblade, November. Obviously not confirmed yet, but an ABK finishes in December. Ooh, that's a quadruple dunk. You know what I say? Simply put, shit's looking up for Xbox. That's what I say. And you know what the most important thing out of all the things you just listed there is? Well, obviously Starfield, but for me, Hellblade in November. All right, like Forza, come on, man. Like, and I'm not taking anything away from Forza, but it's Forza. Like, we know Forza is going to be great, okay? Like, whether it comes out in October, whether it comes out tomorrow, it'll be great. And people who love Forza, like anybody who's been buying Xbox for Forza, they never went anywhere. You know what I mean? They never went anywhere. But I get what the picture you're painting is Microsoft has just like month after month after month, just good shit going down. I wouldn't be upset, dude. I'd probably be talking about it. Like, I'll tell you right now, if Hellblade comes out in November, I'm playing that shit. I'm going to be talking about it, you know? Starfield, I'm not excited for Starfield, but I fully anticipate there will be a big conversation around Starfield no matter what. And I'm assuming the conversation is going to be good. And you're saying the ABK deal finishes in December. Well, that I'll tell you right now, I don't think that's happening. I mean, there's no way that's happening. That's gonna unless Microsoft pulls out of the UK, that's not happening. And they might. Who knows? If they want to do some crazy shit like that, I'd say, you know what? Xbox fans, they have some good games to play, right? Like back to back. Assuming Hellblade's going to be a good game, my big thing there is like, dude, they finally did it. Like a new, different AAA game that's not Halo, Gears, or Forza from a team that needed a bigger budget and more time, and they delivered. Like, they delivered that AAA greatness in a single-player game, and they delivered that through Game Pass. I will absolutely give credit where it's due, man. And we'll see if that's what the end of this year looks like for Xbox, then that's a big turnaround in my opinion. If Xbox can get Starfield in September, Forza in October, and Hellblade in November, that's a hell of a way for Xbox to end the year. That would be a hell of a way for Xbox to end the year. And I would give them a ton of credit where it's like, okay, like, you know, they had some of the, like a really, really shitty year and a half. But now the second half of 2023, they were like, you know what, we're getting serious now. So you're saying they literally bought Starfield. I know that, but we could sit here and say they bought Starfield and canceled the PS5 version, but the reality is, like, no one's gonna care. You know what I mean? No one's gonna fucking care. So that's why it's like, how about this one for you? September, Spider-Man 2, October, Silent Hill 2 remake, November, The Last of Us Factions, and December, I don't know. December, Sony announces another studio acquisition. The reality is Sony bought Silent Hill 2, you know? But I'm not going to be saying that. I'm going to be saying, yo, that's a PS5 exclusive coming this October. October, Helldivers 2. Yeah, that could be one. December, Twisted Metal. Ooh, that'd be interesting. You know, so it's just like I said, man, my hope, not to keep talking about it, but just, you know, because it's a super chat, my hope truly going into the Xbox showcase is that they show some fucking banger games. My expectation, not that. My expectation is I don't expect jack shit from Xbox. My expectation is I expect Xbox to continue fucking up. That's what I expect. That's how low my expectations are. But my hope is that obviously I want to see them show some good fucking games, man. So I hope their showcase is good, dude. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Have a good showcase, show some good games, show a good lineup, show a good roadmap. It's all it comes. I mean, I know we talked all about the console. We talked all about games going to PC. We talked about subscription services. We always talk about the platforms, but at the end of the day, it always comes down to the same thing. It will always ever come down to, are you delivering great games consistently or not? Are you delivering great AAA games consistently or not? You know, like that's all it comes down to, as far as I'm concerned. So I appreciate that super chat. It's definitely an interesting one, JD Gamer. Andrew, you're saying instead of MBR train, why not MBR chopper? Q Arnie. I should do that. I should do that. I should replace the train sound with Arnold screaming, "Get to the chopper! Get to the chopper!" I should. I really should. It would make more sense on the channel here. I think I'll do that after the stream. I should just do it right now. No, I'll do it after the stream. Let me see. We've got Atender Singh. I don't know. I don't know if I said your name correctly, man. Apologies if I butchered your name. You're saying bad news Friday, MBG. Ralph Grassetti has left Santa Monica. No. Now, he did some great work, man. I wonder why he left. You're saying your reaction to the Wolverine trailer has been my favorite reaction ever to a teaser. Probably watched it 10 times. I gotta admit, man, like that was probably the last time I watched an announcement and had like that reaction was legit, man. Like I truly can't remember the last time I was that excited for a game announcement because I was not expecting it. Like I had no idea what we were looking at, and when it became clear that, oh my fucking god, this is Wolverine from Insomniac, yeah, I lost my shit. I lost my shit. I'm expecting a couple of moments like that. Can we rewatch it, the member stream? Yeah, maybe we could, actually. We could, like, skim through. Maybe that would be pretty funny. I'm going to react to my reaction live. That was good shit, though, man. I had popcorn for that stream, too. Oh, that was good times, bro. Good times. I'm glad you enjoyed that reaction, though. Yeah, Wolverine was that was an incredible announcement. Herpy Derps, you're saying Phil Spencer literally said, quote, exclusives are counter to what gaming is about, end quote, and then makes Bethesda titles exclusive. The guy is a flat out liar. Well, no, man, because don't you understand? Don't you understand that, like, they don't want to make games exclusive. They just want to put them on Game Pass. That's different. Even though Game Pass isn't available everywhere and it's not available on PS5. See, Sony's the bad guy here. Sony's the bad guy. Sony's the bad guy for not letting Game Pass onto PlayStation. Don't you know? So, goddamn though, Herpy Derps, your fucking profile picture, nightmare fuel. JD Gamer, you're saying, what's the difference between buying a third-party exclusive that Sony had no part in the making of that game and buying a studio to get that exclusive? The streaming license is free. That was part of the EU approvals deal. As long as you own the game, you can stream it on any service, including PS Plus. Well, actually, JD Gamer, for your second super chat, that's actually, yeah, that hurts Microsoft a lot, dude. But that is actually great for us. So actually, I will admit that in this case, that could be converted, because you're right. I didn't factor that in. That ultimately could turn out to be a relatively pro-consumer thing for everybody. And that's not thanks to Microsoft, actually. That's thanks to the EU and their remedies that are required. But this is the good thing about this deal having to go through so many different regulatory processes, because originally Microsoft was going to charge, at least, for Sony. And now, based off of the EU's remedies, it's, they're saying, look, we'll let this go through, but you got to allow. But isn't it just for cloud? I don't know, man. Are you sure about that? You're saying as long you can stream it. Yeah, okay. It would it's 50-50. It's 50-50 because you would have to stream Call of Duty through PS Plus. But if I'm understanding correctly, Microsoft could still charge to actually license Sony to have that game on the PS Plus for players to download and play natively on their console. Could be wrong about that, but if I'm reading it correctly, it's just those remedies just applied to cloud. And I'll be honest, man, I'm sure there's some people that would want to stream Call of Duty. I don't know who would want to these days anyway. But you're saying, what's the difference between buying third-party exclusives that Sony had no part in the making of versus buying a studio that gets that exclusive? Well, okay, I have to nitpick a little bit here, JD Gamer. Well, actually, it's not a nitpick. I wouldn't be pointing it out if it was a nitpick. It's actually a pretty significant difference. We're not talking about buying a studio. You said buying a studio. I'm assuming your super chat is in reference to, this is basically like the way Sony approaches it versus the way Microsoft approaches it, where Microsoft is currently buying publishers and Sony strikes third-party exclusivity deals with publishers. So I do want to point that out, that there is a significant difference here. Unless you could also be looking at it from the other way. You could be saying, what is the difference between Sony striking, let's say, a third-party exclusivity deal between for like Final Fantasy 16 and with Square Enix versus Sony buying Blue Point Games, right? Well, there is a difference there fundamentally. Fundamentally, the difference is that Sony does have zero ownership over anything regarding third-party exclusivity deals, and the assumption is that almost all third-party exclusivity deals are timed. Not all of them, but the assumption is most of them will be timed, right? So what that ultimately means is if Microsoft, if Nintendo, or if any other platform holder wanted to go to Square Enix and say, okay, well, we can't get Final Fantasy 16, Sony already snagged that game, we would like to strike an exclusivity deal for another game with you guys that you're making. Xbox has the ability to do that. Nintendo has the ability to do that. If Sony bought Square Enix and made everything exclusive, or even if whether they made it exclusive or not, the assumption is they would, that can't happen anymore. There's no more, it's off the table. Microsoft and Nintendo and all other platform holders are cut off. They're cut off completely. So there is an inherent difference. Now, if you're talking about the difference between Sony striking an exclusivity deal with a third-party game versus them buying studios like Housemarque or Blue Point, or even in the past, like they bought, they did buy Naughty Dog way back in 2001, and they did buy Sucker Punch in 2011. There is also an inherent difference here because, these studios, buying individual studios, that's not anywhere near the same level as buying a publisher that owns a suite of studios. It's just a 110% complete difference. The scale is not the same. The scope is not the same. The impact it will have on not just the platform holder that's buying those studios, but the wider industry as a whole is vastly different. So my assumption, JD Gamer, is that you're trying to potentially point out the similarities between Sony buying exclusivity deals for games that they didn't make versus Microsoft buying publishers. Well, I will tell you, from a consumer point of view, as I've said, early on, there's not much difference. So like Final Fantasy 16 releases exclusively on the PS5 for 6 months, and then eventually goes to PC. But for those 6 months, Sony may as well own Square Enix, right? They may as well own them. But it's not permanent. At least the assumption is it's not permanent. It is at least going to go to PC. And then maybe one day Final Fantasy 16 will go to Xbox. But we take a game like Silent Hill 2, for example. That game is going to release on PC day one. It's when that comes out, if you're an Xbox owner, yeah, Sony may as well own Konami because you're not getting Silent Hill on your platform. But you will in a year. Right? Not only that, but Microsoft can go over to Konami and say, hey, we have a lot of money. Can we work something out for like a Metal Gear game, a Castlevania game, a future Silent Hill game? Microsoft can do that right now. Right? Whereas you look at Bethesda, right? Microsoft buys Bethesda. Bethesda's off the table forever. Forever. Every studio, every IP, they all their base belong to Microsoft. And that's just how it goes. So there are massive differences. Even though, like, when you're talking about like bigger picture thinking, bigger picture, viewpoint, you continue to see people that try to tell you that, well, hey, Sony buys third-party exclusivity deals, and I even saw Phil Spencer reference this. Like, they do discrete deals. Like, okay, Phil, yep, good guy Phil, making it sound like Microsoft has never done this shit too. No, it's just that they have a harder time doing it because their consoles don't sell as well. I wonder why. You will continue to see people try to convince you that they are the same thing, or at the very least, there's minimal difference and that the difference is negligible. Wrong. I assure you, anybody who tries to tell you that Sony buying a third-party exclusivity deal and Microsoft buying a fucking publisher, that the difference is negligible, it is simply the single most disingenuous thing that a person could say in regards to this entire gaming industry, because it's literally the furthest thing from the truth. So an apples to apples comparison is this. Remember that time Microsoft bought Undead Labs? Remember that time they bought Ninja Theory? Remember that time that they bought Playground Games? Remember that time Sony bought, like I said, Housemarque? Remember that time Sony bought Bluepoint? Remember that time Sony bought Insomniac? Yeah, those are apples to apples comparisons. And they're both equal. I mean, you could argue the quality of the studios, but I'm saying like that was smart. Like Microsoft was actually being strategic when they did that, because those studios that they purchased made sense for them, and they seemingly filled in certain gaps that they would need to fill in. And then things just completely changed when they're like, actually, we just need all of Bethesda and Activision Blizzard. Shit just got, I don't know what happened there, man. Something happened. The weirdest argument, and before I move on to the next set of super chats, the most bizarre argument that I still sometimes see, and I truly don't understand it, is people who say, well, Sony's bought studios in the past. And they're literally talking about like studios like Naughty Dog and Sucker Punch and others that like Sony bought them before they were ever anywhere near the studios they are today. Like they literally had to grow those studios. And they try to use that as an argument. Like that is not even remotely the same thing. Not even remotely. It's bizarre. I don't understand why people think that. Like I genuinely don't understand. They even mentioned Psygnosis. Like what? Bungie is, truth be told, Bungie is the closest thing that Sony has ever done to and even then it's still not the same. Like somebody could say, well, Microsoft bought Bethesda and Sony bought Bungie. They're kind of the same. It's like, well, I could see why you would think that. I can totally understand. But if you look a little bit deeper, you realize very quickly they're actually not the same. But certainly Bungie compared to Activision Blizzard, again, apples to oranges. 18 May, you're saying the growing sentiment of pro Xbox pundits is that instead of boycotting UK, Microsoft will sequester a secondary Activision business, acting as a separate entity to bypass the ban. Is that possible? I will be totally honest with you, 18 May. I have no idea. My gut tells me that there are rules in place, like there's something put in place to stop that from happening, because that sounds to me, just again, my gut reaction is that's too simple, right? Like to me, it's basically like we're just going to create like a shell company, and say this is Activision, and they're separate and they're not merged with us. You know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't. It sounds super shady and it sounds illegal, frankly, is what it sounds like to me. But then again, I am not a legal expert. I have no clue. So that I will tell you this. If Microsoft is as serious as they are about getting Activision Blizzard, then I would not be shocked if there are some just insane workarounds and loopholes that they're going to try to potentially exploit. But again, I don't know, man. That sounds a bit too like, like I just feel like there's something in place there to stop something like that from happening. Let me actually finish my coffee first. I would look. I don't know, man. The final word on this, at least for now, unless it comes back up in super chats, I've just tried to encourage people, like when it comes to the Activision Blizzard deal, there's no use in listening to anybody. I wonder if anybody, even me, like don't listen to me. Please listen to me, but don't take what I'm saying as like, well, I have the answer now. I do not. Nobody knows. Okay? Like you are going to see people that think they know how this is going to play out. They literally have no idea. Okay, like they're taking their best guess based off of what we know now, and the way things are supposed to work out, we don't know. So, saying don't, I don't, dude. I don't understand how people like this. Oh man, the weirdest shit is seeing trolls in my chat with memberships. God, man, I wish there was something I could do about that, because they do not deserve it. They do not deserve it. But it's ironic. It's ironic. You want to know why? Because any trolls you see in my chat with memberships, just know that they spend a lot of time here, man. YouTube, if you look into it, YouTube doles out gifts. YouTube doles out gifts to those who are actually the most engaged with the channel. So, it's a weird look. It's a weird look, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, that's my recommendation to people. You know what I'm going to do? And you could do this too if you want. You could, I like what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's just see what happens. That's it. Like that's my approach to that situation. And I don't feel like I should take it any further, because this shit is reaching levels that, I don't know, it's going way outside of gaming. It's practically reaching a political level. PlayStation Pete coming in, keeping the train going, man. PlayStation Pete, thank you for another membership gift, man. Thank you so much, dude. Get some crazy Arnolds in there. Get some crazy Arnolds in there. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate that, PlayStation Pete. Leak discussion, please. Okay. All right, let me finish getting through these super chats, and we'll move right on to that. Yeah, I'm taking a bit too long to get to it. So thank you, 18 May. I appreciate that super chat. Tommy, you're saying, MBG, did you know you live rent free in RDX podcast members' heads? No, I didn't know that. They have sound bites of you, and Dealer called the podcast Press X to fall asleep. Dude, they have sound bites of me? Come on. How the fuck is RDX going to have sound bites of me before I even have sound bites of me? That is next level. What's the soundbite though? I'm genuinely curious. It's probably something ridiculous. It has to be something ridiculous. Oh, I had no idea, man. I had that. I love that shit. Dude, that is amazing. No way. A soundbite? Come on. Hold on. A soundbite. I'm trying to see what a my quote from Halo. Oh, that's a good one, dude. That's a good one. Why is this? Dude, hold on. The chat is breaking for me here. Never played it, never liked it. I love that, dude. All right. Yeah, dude. You know what's so funny about that, though? You're saying stop snitching. Dude, that's amazing. This is a disgrace. How is this? This is a disgrace, not a soundbite. I need to get that, bro. You know what's really funny about that quote for me, though? I remember saying that, like, never play. What was it? Never played it, never enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, I definitely misspoke, and I love it because it's like, well, yeah, I'm gonna get murdered for that one, and I deserve it. Like, that's on me. If I said I never played it, I never enjoyed it, then people are gonna say, well, what the fuck, you never played it? Obviously, I played Halo. I played Halo many times, but what I really meant to say is I've never liked it. I've never enjoyed it. It was, to me, Halo has always been okay. I've always been more of a Call of Duty player. Like I remember after I like got really into Call of Duty, I tried to go back to Halo, and I'm like, I don't get it. I couldn't get the same feel. I'm like, to me, Call of Duty just feels so much better to play than Halo. But that shit is funny, man. That shit is funny. I gotta say, that is the best quote too. Like, if you're gonna go for a quote from me, I think that's the best one, because yeah, I said it, man. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Fuck. Saying the snitch is back. Is he? It is a good clip. Dude, there are some crazy ass clips of me out there, man. I'll be honest, I can hardly remember half the shit. Some stuff I remember pretty clearly. Other stuff I'm like, wait, what? I mean, you guys witnessed it here. I was reacting to some of my own stuff. I was reacting to some of my own stuff in a member stream, and I was like, damn, I don't remember. Like, some of it I remember, but other, like, the details I don't remember. Say, troll back, tag them, tell thanks. Obviously, they're all watching you. I mean, yeah, they definitely are watching me, bro. That's for sure. And that's the funniest shit to me, is like, I mean, it's just the reality for every content creator. Like, if you are clicking on somebody's stream, if you're clicking on their videos, even if it's just to troll them, like, you're congratulations, like, you are supporting them. And YouTube does not understand. Like, YouTube's algorithm doesn't understand that, oh, well, this person's only here to troll. No, they see you like, oh, this person's engaged with this content. So that's good. It's funny shit, dude. Love to see it. Let me see. We got Domingo813 saying, think about this. 150 million? I think it's possible. Absolutely, dude. I think it's possible. I honestly, the PS5, I don't know, man. I'm of the mindset that at the rate the PS5 is going, like it hasn't hit its stride yet, dude. It's almost there, but I think once Sony really starts dropping like games like Spider-Man 2, Wolverine, and God knows how many others, I think this console could go on to be the best selling ever. Maybe that's way too bullish. It might be, but Sony's planning on breaking records. So they're bullish. Gamer Pro, you're saying Microsoft's traditionally bought companies to enter a market and try to rule distribution, then use this dominance to bully other companies and make them quit or work for them. Activision Blizzard is a tool to get that. No, Gamer Pro, come on, man. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why are you talking about Microsoft like that? Microsoft's nice. Microsoft doesn't behave that way. They play nice, dude. Microsoft would never do something like that. Dude, the only thing Microsoft is trying to do for me and you right now, Gamer Pro, is give us, more options and better deals. All right? They're trying to save me money. Why don't you get that? I swear, man. I swear. Gamer Pro, get it together. Why are you talking about Microsoft's history? All right? Why are you talking about the shit that they used to do? They would never do that. Come on. We all know that Phil is weak and defeated. He's just trying to be the nice guy that gives us everything we want. No, I appreciate your super chat, Gamer Pro. I appreciate it. Aaron Yogurt, you're saying people are out there spending tens of grands on PCs, and then others think the future of gaming is in the cloud, LOL. That's what I'm saying, man. It's like, you can't. I think it's just at some point we just got to stop trying to predict the future, right? Like, if you want to play on dedicated hardware, then invest in that hardware, whether it's a PC, a console, whatever, and enjoy it. But if you think the future is the cloud, then go play on the cloud, bro, and love that. Love that. Nobody spends 10K on a PC. I will admit that's kind of crazy. Like, I would love to know what games they're playing on a 10K rig. That's insane. I'm sure there are some out there that could go to that level, but I don't know, man. It's a bit extreme. But I appreciate the super chat, Aaron. Planet Schlorpian, you're saying busy week at work coming up, so I won't be able to take the showcase off. That sucks to hear, man. Unfortunately, I'll have to spoil it for myself and catch the trailers later. But you're not the only one, dude. I mean, the reality is a lot of people are going to miss the showcase. It is happening. I got to say, I don't understand why. How come these showcases don't happen on the weekend or like a Friday evening or something? I guess maybe is it because like Sony's kind of relying on the gaming media, being at work and is that what it is? Making sure that they can have all the write-ups and everything? Because I've always wondered about that. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the catch-22, right? If you do your showcase when everybody's off, then the news cycle is going to be delayed. But you would at least ensure more people could view. I guess, yeah, I think Sony's probably doing it the smarter way because just like you said, man, like you're going to catch the trailers. That's still a viable way, man. Like at the end of the day, this showcase is about information. It's about just, okay, we want to feed you information about games that are coming up. And a viable option is to skip watching the showcase and then just look at PlayStation's YouTube channel after. They're gonna have everything up, Yeah, that sucks, man. Because it sounds like you would want to watch the show. Aaron, you're saying Hellblade was boring. I'm a die on this hill. I disagree, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. Hellblade wasn't a perfect game, but I thoroughly enjoyed Hellblade. It's like one of my favorite games. I'm telling you, I think Ninja Theory is a studio that Sony should have tried to pick up. I think they missed them. Ninja Theory would have been perfect under Sony, but I think it's probably actually even better that Xbox has them because I think Ninja Theory is just one of the studios, possibly one of the few studios that's truly going to benefit Xbox in the long run. That could end up being their like crown jewel studio in terms of quality and single player. Brandon Connor, you're saying, do you think Xbox will still slate PlayStation for use of cinematics after Hellblade? LOL. Also, do you agree healthy rivalry is good? I do agree healthy rivalry is good. And that's the key word, healthy. Like, can't take it too seriously, get passionate, but it's like there's only take it to a certain extent. Some people get very unhealthy about it. And some people would say I get unhealthy about it, but I don't think so. I'm not like out here fucking being ultra toxic and really just like laying into people or anything like that. Or picking on people. I just think that, we all have our opinions. So I think healthy rivalry is good. Do I think Xbox will still slate PlayStation for use of cinematics after Hellblade? Even though you would think my answer would be no, like, even though you think my answer would be no, they're not going to. Some will. And it's going to be pretty weird. But then again, I think that there will be Xbox players who, and I've seen it. There have been Xbox players who've been saying like they want to see that type of game from Xbox, a more cinematic game. So I think honestly, the noise, anybody who's against it, like that type of game, that noise will probably be drowned out by the positivity that's coming from Hellblade 2. That's my assumption anyway. That's a good question, man. Maximilian Pegasus 88, you're saying I figured out how to unbrand my account and now my member badge seems to be missing? That is strange, dude. Maybe it's a little glitch. Maximilian Pegasus, cuz yeah, dude, you were a member. You're saying it says I'm still a member. It's just weird my badge. So Maximilian Pegasus, you paid to become a member, right? Yeah, if it says you're still a member, but the badge is missing, it's likely just a bug or a glitch that'll fix itself. That's my assumption. Because if it says you're a member, and I could try to find you in the member list. It would be quite difficult. But I'd say let's give it a couple days. Because YouTube, I will tell you right now, YouTube has been glitching out on me in some pretty severe ways the past week or so. Like, I don't know what they're doing behind the scenes, but I've had some serious glitches going on. So it's probably something that's happening to everybody in different ways. So I scammed him. Oh, dude, Maximilian, I scammed you, bro. Don't you know? Let's give it a couple days, see what happens. But yeah, the one thing you want to look out for, Maximilian, let me know if you do lose access to your perks, because that would be next level and probably have to contact YouTube support. Because if you still have access to the perks, it tells me it's just a visual glitch. Figuratively literal, you're saying P1, no, many have failed due to lack of good exclusives, association with the brand through GP2X, Dingo, PCFX, Cybico, and GameWave, among others. Figuratively literal, I'll be honest with you, man. I have absolutely no idea what you just said. I don't know that was actually a super chat meant for me. It looked like you were pretty much responding to somebody. Unless you're saying that's part one. Oh, no, you're saying part two. Exclusives are the reason to buy something and the identity. This motivates the competition to get better exclusives to beat rivals, better games. Okay, all right. That's probably why I was very confused, because I didn't read the second part. Figuratively literal. It's that simple, dude. It's that simple. It's just exclusivity it not only breeds competition, but you mentioned the word identity, and yeah, identity is pretty important, man. Like, how long was Halo the identity of Microsoft. I mean, look at Nintendo. I mean, obviously Mario is the identity, but there are others that could take the place of Mario for Nintendo that are just as viable. And PlayStation has had many exclusive mascots as well. And it allows something to stand out. And that's exactly what is needed. Absolutely figuratively literal. Darkborn, you're saying also plenty of third-party exclusives get help by Visual Arts, Malaysia, XDev, etc. Xbox doesn't do all that. They just buy out games for Game Pass. That is correct. That is correct. Games like Rise of the Ronin, games like Final Fantasy 16, they are getting direct support from PlayStation with mainly XDev. But yeah, Malaysia, Visual Arts, these are all support studios that are there to support these big AAA games, especially the ones that Sony has a vested interest in. So you're absolutely correct, Darkboard, and I think that's a good call out. Daniel, you're saying, what's up, MBG? I have a hard time figuring out who's going to be the main villain in Marvel's Wolverine. Do I have any clue? I don't know. I mean, I want to say Sabretooth will be there, but I feel like that's a little bit too obvious. I mean, there were people saying that we're going to see Wolverine take on the Hulk. First off, I don't think that's going to happen in Wolverine. And second off, even if that did, I don't think Hulk would be the main villain. I don't know, dude. Like, the truth is, we have not a single... You're asking me if I have any clue? Dude, there's not a single clue as to what direction they're going to go in. Saying Magneto, that would be interesting. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. I'm trying to think of other Wolverine like villains. The only ones that really, I mean, I think of Magneto, but the first I think of is Sabretooth. What other villains? Like, what other, like, I mean, there's, I don't know. Omega Red, Lady Deathstrike, Morbius. Blackthorn. I mean, I will say if they're gonna go with like some more obscure villains, that'll come by a surprise. I think Juggernaut. Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, Juggernaut would be a good one. William Stryker. Yeah, I mean, you have to imagine William Stryker is going to be involved to a certain extent, right? Like, he has to be to some extent. Deadpool. We'll see, man. Yeah, I hope we get a new Wolverine trailer. I really do. Mr. Sinister, Gambit. It's going to have to be a good one. That I do know. I hope we get a new trailer, man. I really do. Man, imagine if we get we get a gameplay demo for Spider-Man 2 and we get another trailer for Wolverine. People are going to go fucking nuts. People are going to go fucking nuts if that happens. And that's not even the new shit. That's not even the new shit. A Wolverine clone. So, basically go the Logan route. That would be really cool. So thank you for that, Daniel. Josh Z, a member for 37 months, longtime member, man. Appreciate it. You're saying MBG recent comments by Sony during investor meetings had Nintendo's IP sustainability as a talking point suggesting that Sony wants to get their existing and future IP on the same level of mass recognition. Your thoughts? Yeah, I saw that too. It was I think it was Sony's CEO that said that, and I think he was talking about it because he said he saw the Mario movie, and he was just, he was talking about just how Nintendo's IP, the staying power and the growth. Yeah, I think first off, I think that's a huge compliment to Nintendo, because I mean, Sony is the market leader, but even they are seemingly recognizing that Nintendo, they're able to achieve. That's the thing about Nintendo, is Nintendo's able to achieve something with their IP that really nobody else in gaming has truly been able to get to that level. And I think it's really interesting that Sony wants to try to do that, because it's going to be difficult, man. But I think Sony could potentially do it. I think that Nintendo has kind of shown like, look, even if you have failed hardware at times, even if you're not able to compete in the traditional sense sometimes or most times, um, we're gonna show you, like, as long as you make your IP the priority, and your IP the priority, um, whether it's for your console or anything else, you just got to grow it, man. You got to focus on growing it. I think that's a huge compliment to Nintendo, and I think that's a clear sign of Sony's ambition when it comes to their big IP. Like, I'll be honest, like, do I think Horizon can be as big as like Pokemon and Mario and Zelda? I don't think so. I'm just being like brutally like off the cuff honest. I don't think so. Um, but then again, my viewpoint is I don't view Horizon anywhere near like the strongest IP that Sony has. I think it is a strong IP. Could God of War? I mean, possibly. It's possible. I mean, it depends on what they want to do with Kratos. It is a little bit different too, though. I think that the fact that Sony, with a lot of their IP, they're going for, you know, they're going for a lot of their games. It's more mature, more realistic in a lot of ways, or at least some type of realism. I think that I don't know that helps. You know what I mean? And that might be kind of the key to Nintendo is like Nintendo, their most beloved IP, their most recognized IP. It really is universal IP that like it doesn't matter what age you are. And you know what I mean? It just has that universal appeal. I don't know that the same can be said for a lot of Sony stuff. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think that that's the reality of it. So maybe something like Astro, potentially. The potential's there, but it needs a lot of growing. I mean, people are asking for like Sly Cooper and stuff to come back. I don't know, man. But my thoughts on that, Josh, I think it's a great compliment to Nintendo, and I think it just really speaks to Sony's ambitions to growing their IP. No doubt about it. The Claymores, you're saying, loving my first playthrough of Ghost of Tsushima, but I feel terrible when I accidentally cut down villager doors. Very immersive game. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, man. Yeah, dude. Oh, hold on. I got something to say. Maximilian Pegasus 88, thank you for gifting another membership, man. This is also further confirmation that you are still a member, because you do need to be a member to gift memberships. So, Maximilian Pegasus coming in, keeping the train going. Guys, we're at 52 members on the day. 52 members on the day. It's worth noting my original goal was only supposed to be 25, and you guys absolutely crushed it. So once again, thank you guys. And we got Hellbound 1981 keeping it going with another membership gift of his own. Hellbound 1981 again. I don't know what the total is for you today, Hellbound, but I think that's certainly a couple memberships you've gifted. So we are at 53 memberships on the day. Really thank you guys. The support every stream is always very strong. So really means a lot. You guys know that. So shout out to everybody continuing to gift memberships. Very much appreciated. W's in the chat. Let's get some W's in the chat. So speaking of Ghost of Tsushima, I am planning to change my background soon. Okay. And I'm getting something Ghost of Tsushima related. It's not like a statue or anything like that. But, you mentioned Ghost of Tsushima. It's unfortunate that apparently we're not going to see it, the sequel announced. I was really holding out some hope that we would. It's not a big deal, because that just means we'll get it later on. But I love Ghost of Tsushima, man. Like, I realize I need to get something Ghost of Tsushima in the back here because, I think it's like my favorite game, dude. I love it. I absolutely love that game. I think about that game all the time. So yeah, I need to get that. I need to get the Mark Cerny poster. Again, man, it's going to be a cardboard cutout at some point. So I appreciate that, the Claymores, and I'm glad you're loving your first playthrough of Ghost of Tsushima. Carlos Crespin, you're saying, are you going to stream the showcase? Absolutely, I am. I said I was going to stream starting at 12 p.m. Eastern, but I think I'm going to start at like 2 p.m. Eastern, so not to burn myself out. because I think the showcase stream is going to be one of the longest ones I ever do, but I'd rather start a little bit later so that way I can stream longer after the showcase ends because I mean, we're going to have so much. I think we're going to have a hell of a lot more to talk about um after the showcase ends than before. Certainly a lot before as well, but you know, so I'll start the stream like probably 2 hours, 2.5 hours before the showcase actually begins. And then I don't know. To be honest, I was thinking about doing this and I don't know if I would. I don't know. It's a bit of a so the thing about the showcase stream is it's probably the single biggest opportunity for growth on my channel specifically because I'm a PlayStation focused channel. So I was like thinking, what if I can't do a stream literally all day. I will burn myself out and not have enough energy like, by the time the actual show starts. But I was thinking, what if like I started the stream like really, really early? I'm talking like, you know, I don't know, like 8, 9, 10 hours before the actual showcase happens. But I play the previous showcases on loop. And then maybe about 2 hours, maybe an hour before, that's when I go live. The reason why I was thinking about doing that is because that would give my channel the opportunity. Yeah, I don't know about that. That's a little bit it's a little bit strange, but the reality is thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people would come across my channel that way, and they would, there's a chance they would subscribe. Saying, bro, don't do that. Yeah, it feels a little. I did that once before. I don't know if you guys remember. You're saying this ain't IGN. I know that is what IGN and GameSpot do, and there's a reason. It fucking works. It's like insanely effective. I did that one time. I actually did that for the state of play for Horizon Forbidden West. I like put the stream out like 5 hours early, and it was basically just streaming the. Well, actually, I did that because they put up a stream where they were showing the like landscapes and the location. Um, but yeah, you're saying that's clickbait. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, there's no doubt that a lot of people would click on it. And that's why I don't want to, like, that's why I'm leaning towards not doing it, because most people clicking on it would assume like, oh shit, it's happening now. And it's like, it's not, you know? And I don't expect most people to know that, because a lot of like, people who don't regularly search for PlayStation are going to be looking for it because they know at the very least the showcase is happening. It was just a thought I had. I want to maximize, what we can do for the channel here in terms of growth that day, obviously, but I also I don't want to, you know, get to a point where it's like I ruin it for myself because it's like I decided to go live 6 hours early and I have no energy left and whatever. But I'll probably just do what I said. I'll probably go live about an hour, probably 2 hours early, because I'm gonna want to chat with you guys for a good while before the show goes live. But to answer your question, man, simply put, yes, I'm streaming the show. It's gonna be a good time. Let me see. You will kill them with membership trains. Zanarkan Blitzer, you're saying, of course, NBG is going to live stream the PlayStation Showcase. NBG and us have been waiting for Sony to announce their showcase, their next one, for ages. Yeah, dude, there's no way I could not stream it. But I very much do want to stream it. I'm excited to. It is true. This is what we've been waiting for, man. I mean, I think that I'm looking at the showcase as the start of something. Like the start of, again, like a new phase for PlayStation, where the focus is no longer on playing it safe and waiting it out. It's like we're gonna be done with that. The focus is on we're doing shit now. Like now the time, PS5s are available. The pandemic is over. Fuck that Activision Blizzard thing. let time to do what we do best. That's what I'm hoping for. Am I picking up Mortal Kombat day one? It's hard to say if I'm going to be there day one because it's coming out in the middle of September, and I got to see like what else is. I mean, Spider-Man could be coming out the same week for all I know, so I can't commit to day one. But it's definitely a game I want to play. It's definitely a game I want to play. So I appreciate that, Zanarkand. We got Daniel saying, "I'm calling it now. Wolverine will have a cameo at the end of Marvel Spider-Man 2." Ooh, that would be so awesome, man. That would be amazing. Coming up. Come on. That would be incredible. Wolverine having a cameo at the end of Spider-Man 2. Man, I would love it. It would make a lot of sense too. It would confirm that their universes are connected. Darkborn, you're saying, could you see Sony putting Spider-Man 2 gameplay at a state of play later and Insomniac only showing their rumored multiplayer game? It would be crazy. Absolutely not, Darkborn. I'm going to shut that down right now. Darkborn. No. I know it's difficult for some people to believe. Because we're finally here where it's like, are we actually going to see Spider-Man? We're going to see Spider-Man. Spider-Man will be there. 110%. So you don't have to worry about that. And you talk about Insomniac's multiplayer game. I mean, I feel like the multiplayer, I don't know. They are working on a multiplayer game, but I feel like it's pretty, I don't know. I feel like it's probably pretty far out. Josh, you're saying Returnal launched 15 days shy of 2 years on PC. Okay. Are you? Oh, yeah. You know what? You're right. You're right, Josh. That's my bad. I forgot that Returnal actually came out this year. I appreciate you correcting me on that. So, yeah, it's pretty much 2 years. Subtext, you're saying, what do you want from Cory Barlog's new IP? Honestly, I don't have any expectations. I don't have any desire. Simply put, I want something that looks amazing. I want something that looks like a must play. I want something that screams like, this looks incredible. That's what I want. No expectations really other than that. Andrew, you're saying, would you rather Ghost of Tsushima 2, 3, etc., or a wider Ghost of series like Viking Ghost of City in like maybe in Norway, or Ghost of Camelot, Ghost of Cleveland? Oh, now that is interesting, Andrew. That is very interesting. I didn't consider that. I never considered that. I never considered Sucker Punch and Sony maybe deciding to go the Assassin's Creed route. What would I? That's tough, man. I mean, I feel like my gut tells me I want them to stick with like Jin and the samurai, but it is true that like if they were to not do that, they could really go in so many different directions, which would be very interesting to see. But I'll be honest, my gut tells me they're going to stick with it's going to be Jin, Sakai, and Samurai, and I don't know how far they could take it, but that's my expectation. But that is interesting, the idea that they could basically take the Assassin's Creed route. I'm sure some people would like to see that. But yeah, the job listings at Sucker Punch, to be honest, like the job listings pretty much confirm that, yeah, it's set in Japan again. So figuratively literal, you're saying Ghost of Tsushima has reportedly sold 1 million copies in Japan. Last PlayStation IP to do so was GT4 in 2004. We did mention that earlier, figuratively literal, but I will say I had no idea that it's been that long. Now I was wondering why. I was like, why is Sony making it seem like it's such a big deal? Like it's such a big deal that that Ghost of Tsushima sold 1 million in Japan, but now you're saying the last time they did that was in 2004. Now I get it. Raf Grissetti over on Twitter says, "Today is my last day at Sony after over a decade of being part of this incredible journey. It's bittersweet, but above all, I'm overwhelmed with gratitude for the countless opportunities I've been fortunate to have. Sony has been my second home, and I'm immensely grateful to be involved so deeply with God of War. The skills I've learned and the deep connections I've formed with incredible people will stay with me forever. Special thanks to the amazing Corey Barlog, Eric Williams, Yumi Yang, Scott Rohde." He says, "I will share more news on what's next for me next week." So, yeah, man. Hopefully, it sucks to see that, but it's nice at the same time. Like, it sucks because it's like, well, you know, Santa Monica Studio clearly just lost a very talented developer, but sounds like he's on to some pretty big things. So you like to see that as well. He earned it, man. He earned it. All right, let me find this. All right, we're gonna talk about this leak. Okay, we got a leak. The whole showcase leaked. All right. I'm gonna try to bring the image up on screen. Give me a second so I can do that. Why does it always do this to me, man? Every time I go to save an image, it always fucks me up. Like, it's not that hard. Sorry, guys. Let me try it. I might not be able to bring it. I don't know why it does this, man. I should have had it up already. I apologize. All right. So yeah, we have our first list of the PlayStation Showcase. Apparently, every game that's going to be there is leaked out. So I'll read through this list with you guys. I'm not going to be able to bring it up on screen. It's all right. So let's see. The first game on the list, The Last of Us Factions by Naughty Dog, PlayStation 5 console exclusive. Okay. All right. Sounds reasonable. Sounds reasonable. I think we could see that. I think we're going to see that. I think that's 100%. Next up, Twisted Metal by Fire Sprite, PS5 exclusive. Yup. That also sounds perfectly reasonable. I'm fully expecting to see Twisted Metal. So far, so good. So far, so good. Pragmata, Capcom. Says PS5. Not an exclusive. Again, seems pretty good. Next up after that, Resident Evil 4 VR, PSVR 2 exclusive. Okay, yeah, I mean, so far this list is incredibly plausible. Incredibly plausible. Can't help but notice that you know what? Here's the next one. Snake Eater, Subsequent. I don't know why it's called that. Snake Eater Subsequent. So MGS3. PS5 exclusive. Yeah, I'm expecting to see that. Silent Hill 2. PS5 console exclusive. Okay, we could see more Silent Hill 2. Mortal Kombat. Yeah, we could see another trailer for Mortal Kombat. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So, according to this leaked list, we're going to see another trailer for Rebirth. Certainly possible. Disney Domination by Square Enix. It's going to be a multi-plat title. Astro's Conquest by Team Asobi. PSVR 2 exclusive. Nope. Found the first hiccup here. A new Astro game called Astro's Conquest. Yeah, that could be possible by Team Asobi. Are we going to see a new Astro game? Yes. Will it be PSVR 2 exclusive? No. I don't believe so. I believe that I 100% believe, and I could be wrong, but I 100% believe that the next Astro game is going to be a game that is a PS5 title, but can also be played in PSVR 2. So it could be used to market PSVR 2, but it will be a PS5 game that people buy. Next up, Half-Life Alyx for PSVR 2. Yeah, that's been rumored for some time. So, possibly. Yeah, possibly. Fuck, man. It's not like somebody just got into a fucking car accident. Death Stranding 2. Kojima Productions. Yep. So far. So, just want to say, I don't know about you guys, but so we're like halfway through this list. Does anything seem strange to you guys about this? Anything seem strange? Like, I'll tell you right now, to me, I'm halfway through this list. The strangest thing is how there's like no new games announced. There's like one new game announcement, maybe two. And we covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games. And out of those 12, only 2 new games. Seems not, I don't know, it's pretty low. But we'll continue on. Stellar Blade. Yeah, I could see us getting some more Stellar Blade. Hades 2 for PS5. Darkest Dungeon 2 for PS5. Goodbye Volcano High. Okay, this to me is fucking wild that anybody would put this on a list. Like, why the fuck would you put Goodbye? Like, this list was doing so well. It was doing so good. And then they're like, Goodbye Volcano High. Dude, Goodbye Volcano High was announced at the original PS5 Future of Gaming Showcase. Like, there's no chance Sony would actually fucking put that shit in this showcase again. I'm pretty sure they actually had a trailer for it, by the way, at the last State of Play. Like, it's not like there's to me that's a dead giveaway that it's obviously fake. It's like they would not waste space for that game. I refuse to believe that. But then beneath that, they have the Dishwasher Collection by Ska Studio. Ghost of a Tale 2. Whatever that is. Lost Soul Aside. Killzone by Firewalk. Yeah, so to me, this is where like the list really just takes a shit. You know, like I could even understand why some people getting up to this point were like maybe, but Killzone's not showing up, dude. It should be more than obvious by now that Sony's not planning on doing anything with Killzone. At least to me. If Killzone and let alone Fire Sprite, like why would Fire Sprite be making Killzone? It seems like they just needed to find a studio to put there. So okay, Killzone. Here's the next one. Sucker Punch. Ghost of Kamakura. So that's apparently Ghost of Tsushima 2. It's worth noting that Jeff Grubb did say today he was told Ghost of Tsushima 2 is not going to be at the showcase. Helldivers 2 by Arrowhead. So yeah, I think Helldivers 2 will absolutely be at this show. Marvel's Spider-Man 2, obviously. And then at the very end here, Sony Santa Monica Studio, Darkseid. Whatever that is. Like their new IP. So you're telling me that Sony's only planning on announcing one new IP. Just one new IP. All right. I mean, guys, the list is 100% fake. It's not a real list. So let me basically, if this was Sony's show, how would I rate it? Pretty good. I'd say it's a pretty good show. Yeah, I mean, some exciting shit in there, but my biggest problem with this list, truly, like my biggest problem, it severely lacks new game announcements. And to me, that's not like, that's the opposite of what this showcase needs to be. Like, this showcase needs to have like quite a few new game announcements. So yeah, that list is fake. Chris B, you're saying both Goodbye Volcano High and Pragmata both were shown together? LOL. Believable. Yeah, that's the showcase, guys. Apparently, it happened already. Stop the cap. That's a terrible list. I mean, it would. So the reason why I'm saying that, like, it would be difficult for me to say that's a bad show is because even though if this was what Sony's show was, even though there are so many games that we already know about, a lot of these games I'd be very excited about. No doubt about it. I'd be pretty damn excited about a lot of these games. But yeah, I that would be ultimately, I think, an underwhelming show. Yeah, no mention of Sony Bend, Blue Point Games, the Horizon multiplayer game. There's like no partnerships. Where's Firewalk's game? Yeah, the list is lacking a lot of stuff, man. It's lacking quite a bit. But that Astro game too. Like, I do think we'll see an Astro game, but I'm telling you, man, it's gonna have to be a game that is playable on PS5 because that's what PS5 players are expecting. It would be pretty strange if it wasn't. If they just went like PSVR 2 exclusive, I don't know about that, man. Especially because PSVR 2 is kind of struggling a bit. The question is, should I make a video on this list? For fun, not seriously. You know, I wouldn't make the video be like, hey guys, check it out. All the games leaked. I did this every time. Every time there was a PlayStation Showcase list leak, I made a video where it's like, well, let's check out the list this time, guys. It's always pretty funny. I mean, the thing about the reason why I don't know that I'm going to is because, like, this list is kind of boring. Like, usually when I see these fake lists, there's always like just something like fucking totally absurd that just makes it funny. But this list is just clearly like like this list it's of games that could show up and are most likely to show up, and that's pretty much it. But it's not really a very exciting list. Like, if that really was the PlayStation Showcase, I'd be like, man, that kind of lacks some excitement, doesn't it? Also, I don't know what the hell. What was up with the naming? They're like Snake Eater Subsequent. Like, what does that mean? You know, like they didn't say Metal Gear Solid. Like, the game is going to be called Metal Gear Solid, whatever. You know, they'll probably just say Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake or Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater Remake. So Saying people saying PSVR 2 struggling based on thin air. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say that it's struggling. I guess I just mean like I just think Sony could get a ton of sales, man. Sony could have a ton of sales for a proper PS5 Astro game. Like they really could because they have what they they have Astro's Playroom. Is it, I think it's yeah, Astro's Playroom in every PS5 shipped. Like, dude, they're gonna be approaching 40 million. That's a lot of people that could if they played that game for free on the PS5, they would probably consider buying another one, like a sequel, full blown sequel. So, and I could see it also being marketed heavily on PSVR 2 as well, though. But yeah, that's the list, guys. But I think with that said, I think that might be it for topics today on the stream. We went over the Jim Ryan interview, talked a little bit about some Xbox stuff, talked about the leaked PlayStation Showcase list. Right now, it's definitely the calm before the storm. You can feel it. You can feel it. I'm curious. Like the thing I'm kind of keeping my eye out I'm keeping my eyes peeled for is any actual real leaks we might get. I'm not like actively seeking them out necessarily, but I'm just paying attention to see like is anybody with like credibility talking. Right now the only thing we've got is again from Jeff Grubb saying, well, we have two things. Number one, we have Jeff Grubb saying not to like that he was told Ghost of Tsushima 2 is not going to be there. Number two, Andy Robinson of VGC heavily hinted at Metal Gear being at the showcase. So I'm excited, man. Yeah, I was thinking about doing a members only stream today. The reason why I didn't was pretty much because of this Jim Ryan interview. I wanted to make sure to cover this. So my plan is to do a members only stream tomorrow. All right. I'm going to aim for 12 p.m. Eastern, just like we did today. So if you are a channel member, look out for that notification. Actually, you might not get notified. It's very important. I'm gonna put it out there on the community post, but a lot of people complain that YouTube system is kind of broken with members only stuff where it just simply doesn't let people know. So I'm letting you know now tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern. Okay, members only stream. Look forward to that. The last stream was a really chill one. This is going to be just a members only hangout where we just hang out and we watch whatever, funny videos, gaming videos, just shoot the shit, nothing really crazy. So, so yeah, look forward to that, guys. And before I head out, I also want to, this is the stream for today. It's a pretty long one. I didn't realize it's over 3 hours. Before I head out, I do want to also once again thank everybody for your continued support. Today we got 53 memberships gifted, and actually I did say I wanted to see if we hit that milestone, and I want to let you guys know if we did before we go. Let's see. Let me go check the members here. The computer's slowing down. It's chugging along. See, did we do it? No, not yet. God, we are so close too. We are so close. We didn't hit the milestone yet. We're like unbelievably close to hitting it. We're about 29 members away from hitting the milestone, so we should be hitting that in just a couple days. But yeah, you guys come out. You've gifted 53 memberships, amazing support and super chats. My video from yesterday is doing pretty well. So just want to give everybody a big thank you. You're saying do the Arnold before you leave. I'll give you a couple Arnolds. There you go. You want me to do do the Arnold? You want me to do the Metal Gear as well? Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate the support. Um, I'm just trying. I got to be honest. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting to say. I don't know why. I like have that splinter in my mind right now. I hate that feeling. I feel like there's something I meant to say. Hmm. I don't think so. I think I covered everything. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, Devil Shooter, you're saying me? Oh, yeah. Maybe that's actually what was on my mind. So, I think it's worth letting everybody know. Devil Shooter, he said he's going to continue to do timestamps. It's not going to be every single stream, and the timestamps likely will not be as extensive as they once were because it's just too much for anybody. But he said that he's going to try his best to do them when he can because he wants to do it for the community. He wants to be able to provide that for people who regardless of the analytics, for people who do rely on that. And I told him in return, I'm gonna be rewarding him for that and giving him something because he's definitely earned that. I mean, he's been doing the timestamps for the Sunday streams forever now, but I figured that was worth pointing out here as well. So thank you for reminding me about that, Devil Shooter. Yeah, we definitely appreciate you and everything you do here for the community, and I'll be sure to show you our appreciation for that. And Domingo 813, before we go, you're saying really think about this 160 million. Like, come on. I don't know, Domingo. Are you saying that as in you think it can hit us 160 million, or do you think it sounds ridiculous? I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell. Let's see what games like Spider-Man 2 can do for the PS5. All right, guys, that does it. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll catch you on a members only stream tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern. But until then, guys, take care.